You are now in the arena. Welcome to Gridiron, presented by Underdog. Woo, woo. My name is Kinsey. I am your host, and we are back. It is Monday, and so much going on with free agency, so much going on in the NFL, so we've got a lot to talk about. But first, next to me, we have one of the most prolific figures in the history of sports media and the man who's never lost a debate, Skip Bayless.
Yeah.
All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle, one of the most disruptive D tackles of his generation, Gerald McCoy.
Yeah.
We've actually missed you, Gerald. It's kind of been a minute since we've had you.
Yeah.
We got the king of quarterback breakdowns, top 5 passer in USC Trojan history, Cody Kessler.
Yeah, Cody.
3-time Pro Bowler and Super Bowl winning safety, TJ Ward.
Yeah.
So we're going to miss Aqib today, but we got the big fella with the big opinions ready to hold it down, right?
Yeah.
Here we
I
go.
want to do a show with my guy.
I know.
TJ,
It's been
Oh, you have
one virtual. This the first
Yes,
one.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. The world, I don't know if the world know, me and TJ was teammates.
Yeah.
So it wasn't great. He was great. The record.
Nah,
wasn't.
we was great, we wasn't great.
Do you guys get along?
Yeah, that's
What?
my guy. That's my guy.
Nah, man.
I'm just like,
I hate him.
I'm hoping we get a little spicy today. You
Yeah,
know, I
we
like
will.
when we get a little excited, a little fighting. We don't have a keep, so somebody's got to fight
Yeah.
with Skip today.
Yeah.
Cody, you getting
Oh,
jumped.
I got it.
No, Kinsey's got it. She'll fight
I'm
you.
gonna step
Every
up.
day.
All right, guys, we got a packed show. So Jaxon Smith-Njigba is officially the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. And what does that mean for Puka and George Pickens? And we discuss Cam Skattebo's comments about CTE. They were wild. And we will talk a little flag football. TJ was there on the scenes for the Fanatics flag football.
Yep.
So we need all the opinions on this because the world is kind of disappointed in the boys. This episode is presented by Underdog, and Underdog's available in most states, including Texas, California, and Florida. So new customers get $50 in bonus entries when they play, just $5 to get started. Use code GRID when you sign up, and it'll load instantly. Underdog, make picks, win money with code GRID. So first things first, which is breaking news, which is not actually a surprise, but Seahawks locked up the number 1 wide receiver, signing Jaxon Smith-Njigba to a 4-year, $168.6 million extension. So this makes him the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. I do want to show the other paid receivers. We got Jamar Chase at 40.25, Justin Jefferson 35, CeeDee Lamb 34, and DK Metcalf at 33. So this is a big jump. So
I was just
Skip, has JSN proved to the NFL that he's the best wide receiver?
You know, Aqib and I have done battle about this 4 or 5 different times through the end of the season. And he kept saying Jamar Chase is in another league from JSN in athletic ability, gymnastic ability, and just striking terror in DB's hearts. And I would say, I got you. I get that. I see that. I feel that. But JSN was not getting enough credit for the impact of the season that he just gave us, because it was all-time spectacular for a team that threw the 4th fewest passes in the league. So they're saying to Sam, we're not going to throw a whole lot, but when we throw it, we want to complete it, and they did, because they were number 1 in yards per catch and number 1 in yards per completion. So every time he threw it, mostly to this guy, it got caught for a lot of yards. So it's hard to argue with the productivity, because I didn't have time to go real deep on this because you could just blow your brain up trying to get to the bottom of this. But look at what he did. He had 1,200 more yards receiving than the second Seattle receiver, Cooper Kupp. So he had 1,200 more yards. And the closest I could find was Jerry Rice in 1995 was his greatest year. He was 1,786 more than the second, who's a little running back, and on the 49ers. Yeah. So it was JSN or bust. And I kept saying, he doesn't look that fast. He doesn't look like he's playing that fast or that quick, but it's like he's a shapeshifter. Like he just materializes and he's open. And that's the closest I have seen to Jerry Rice. And I covered a whole lot of Jerry Rice. I'm not saying he's Jerry Rice, but he operates the way Jerry Rice operated, where you'd say, I don't know how he's doing that, because he's not. Remember, Jerry Rice ran 4.6 ahead of the draft, 4.6, which is why he fell in the draft. Well, JSN ran 4.5, so it's not like he's blazing speed. He just runs routes that get open, and Sam completely trusted him, obviously, to the point that just about he had 67 more catches and 93 more targets than any other Seattle receiver. So it's ridiculous. The bulk of the work of the Super Bowl champ was him catching passes. That's the greatest offensive impact they had. I know the running back who became the MVP of the Super Bowl got hotter and hotter as they got toward the very end, but the guy who really got them there was JSN. So he richly deserves every penny he just got above Jamar Chase. And again, if I'm doing a combine, if I'm just doing big picture in a void, would I take Jamar Chase over JSN? I probably would slightly, but if I want productivity for this team and this quarterback, man, I can't get any better, because all they did was win the whole thing, right?
Man, I'm gonna speak for my dog Lee since he's not here, and I'm gonna stay with Chase, man. You gotta go with Chase. Now, JSN, you mentioned all those stats about what he did for Seattle and on his team. He doesn't have a number 2 receiver like Chase does with T. Higgins.
Yeah.
T. Higgins is a number 1 for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
And then you brought up Jerry Rice, right? Jerry Rice. What made Jerry Rice so great? But we all know he had hands. He ran great routes. But what really put him over the top? His ability to score touchdowns. Touchdowns in this league is what make you great. JSN in the last 3 years, great receiver, great route runner, has 20 touchdowns. You know how many touchdowns Chase has in that same time period? 32. That's 12 more touchdowns. And on top of that, he has 52 touchdowns his entire career. So Jerry Rice, to put in perspective, Jerry Rice has 208 touchdowns in his career, which sounds crazy, right? The next best receiver, I think, is Randy Moss at like 150, 152 or something like that. So he's 50 touchdowns more than a lot of some people's GOAT, which is Randy Moss. I still, Jerry's the greatest receiver to ever do it. Some say the greatest football player to ever do it.
Bill Walsh said that. Yeah, he's greatest player ever.
Greatest player, period. So for Jamar Chase to have 52 touchdowns his entire career, 32 in the last 3 years in the time period, he also has a triple crown, which JSN doesn't have. He has a 1,700-yard season just like JSN. You have to take Chase. Now, the way these guys get paid isn't who's the best receiver. It's who's the best receiver up next. And that's just how the league is. We talked about that, week in and week out. It's the guy who's next. But if I'm taking one receiver who can do it all, give me touchdowns, give me first downs, run after the catch, deep threat, intermediate routes, who DBs truly, truly fear, I don't think JSN has built that fear factor yet. I think he had a great season, but I don't think guys go out there and fear him. But I know guys go out there right now and they have fear in their heart for Chase.
I'm a fan of the show, Cody. I'm listening. Go ahead. I'm enjoying the show before I dive in.
Yeah.
I'm listening, man. I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Yeah. So I'm on board with you guys. I don't think JSN has proven to be the best wide receiver yet, but I think he's on his way to potentially becoming the top wide receiver in the NFL. If you look at his trajectory right now, his rookie year had 60 receptions, 600 yards, 4 touchdowns. In his second year, has 100 receptions, 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns. Then last year, he just takes off and explodes onto the scene, has 119 receptions for 1,700 yards, 10 touchdowns, and he wins Offensive Player of the year just in his third year in the NFL. I love his skill set, man. He is an elite wide receiver, and I don't use that word elite lightly because I think it does get thrown around a lot, but there's a small set of guys that are in that top category. JSN, after last season, in my opinion, has asserted himself amongst the league's best receivers. When you look at his skill set, man, his ability to get open, like you mentioned, Skip, not the fastest guy in the world, didn't run a great 40, but he still can continuously create separation against man and zone. He's so smooth getting in and out of his breaks when he runs those routes. The other thing that I think he does a great job of is he makes every route look the same, which puts a lot of pressure on a DB. And what I mean by that is whether he's running a 9-yard stop, a 15-yard comeback, or a go route, his get off and acceleration at the snap all look the same. He keeps a great pad level and continues to dig, and then he can stop on a dime at 9 yards, stop at 15, or go over the top and go make a contested catch down the field. That's so difficult to defend. The other thing that I think he does a great job of is using his high football IQ to his advantage. And what I mean by that is knowing how to attack leverage, but also to adjust his route based on the coverage that the defense is running. I could have a receiver run the same route from the slot, but that route might slightly change based on if it's cover 1, cover 2, cover 3, or cover 4. And if you can continuously give your quarterback lanes to throw the football based off of the coverage and leverage, that makes your job a lot easier. And I think that's why Sam Darnold trusted him so much, knowing that if it's cover 2, he knows he can cross the safety's face. If it's a high safety outside, he knows he's going to flatten his route. I know I can put the ball there, and JSN's going to go get it. So I really like everything that JSN brings to the table. I think he's going to be a top wide receiver in the league in the future, can at least push some of these guys. But I'm with you. Right now, I still have Jamar Chase for every reason that both of you mentioned. Just 6,800 yards, 54 touchdowns in his first 5 seasons. He's a guy that you know they want to get the football to. Even with T. Higgins on his team, I know he's got another guy that he shares the targets with, but every game that whether it's Burrow or Flacco or Browning or whoever his quarterback might be, they want to find number 1. You still can't stop them. Put 2 guys on him.
Okay.
I mean, remember that Thursday night game against the Steelers with Joe Flacco? Just kept force-feeding him the football regardless of who was covering him. I really like Jamar Chase. I think he's number 1. But in my opinion, JSN has really asserted himself into that small, unique, or elite category.
Who do you think saw the most double coverage between JSN and Jamar Chase?
Jamar Chase.
I mean, well, no, to that extent, I don't know the exact number, Skip, but you would think based off of how many targets JSN got over the next closest guy, you would think JSN would be that guy. But also you got to remember, when you're running that offense that Clint Kubiak runs, as soon as you start double covering and playing too high, we're going to hit you with the 1-2 punch with Walker and Charbonnet and run the football. Then we have Cooper. Then we have Barner. Then we can go get Rashid Shaheed. So as soon as you put too much focus there, you got to have weapons outside of that. Now, they don't quite have a T. Higgins as a number 2.
To say it's hard
like
to
Chase
double.
does.
It's hard to double Chase as much with T. Higgins there.
Yeah,
you
agree.
You can't really double him.
I agree.
Yeah.
But, so I would
and if
say,
I'm looking at a receiver whose second receiver in Cooper Kupp had 1/3 the catch or the yardage, 1/3 the yardage.
yeah,
I think that's force, not choice.
Okay.
Like you
All right.
you have no other option at that point. So it's
but
like you said,
it would seem to me that every game, every defensive coordinator would say, I'm having 2 on JSN every play.
They did the same to Antonio Brown, and he did it.
yeah, and that's fine.
Sometimes you just can draw it up, and guys can just be
And sometimes them double teams depend on how you play.
Yeah.
A lot of times, if you play that double team in and out, you're going to get beat. I like a high-low double team more than I like an in and out. Because the in and out, you can get split deep. You can get split, across the inside if your guy on the inside leverage isn't there. Or if your guy is too high on the outside, you can get beat on the outs because your leverage is not there. But a high-low double team works a lot better because you had a guy running up or under every route, and then you have somebody that should contain it deep. But like they're saying, if you go deep and you throw it and you had that guy, it becomes one-on-one now because the trailer, he's no longer there to help.
Yeah.
So it's
and when we talk double teams, it's not like it's the old Megatron days where they had 2 guys lined up like it's
crazy.
2-man where you have a man defender underneath and a safety over the top. It's cover 2 where there's a corner underneath and a cloud over the top, but you can still hit those hole shots. You can still hit those circus corner routes. You can still beat that 2-man defender without, and then flatten the route. That's what he does so well is, all right, there's a safety high, I got a trail corner, I'm still going to sell inside, flatten to the sideline, I can get a toe tap on the sideline.
What Seattle is the play action.
Yeah.
Because you get either that safety or whoever is on that low having to play the run, and oh shit, now I got to turn and roll underneath. He's gone.
Yeah.
And I've seen that a lot of time with Seattle and JSN.
Yeah, I believe JSN had a magical year at the perfect time. He did everything everybody said.
Yeah.
He led the league in yards, offensive player of the year, and they won the Super Bowl. It's just the perfect time. But I believe that the only reason we're having this conversation is because of the times we live in. It's just 2026 where we live in a microwave society. Do it once, and I can crown you as the best. Or we tag GOAT to everybody. You see people's name, and they put the little GOAT emoji next to them because they did something good one time. Or, Skip, you've been in this a long time. There was a time where you had to earn that tag as the best. How did you earn it? Because you were consistent. He had a magical year, but we can't just jump him all the way to the top when we've seen Jettis do it multiple times.
I agree.
We've seen Jamar Chase do it multiple times. We've seen CD do it multiple times. We've seen Puka do it multiple times. You can't just jump him to the top because he had a magical year.
But
Did he earn his money?
trajectory, as Cody
he's-
pointed out, it was
His
going up.
trajectory is great.
Yeah.
But we've seen a lot of trajectories where, man, he was, and then what happened? I was always taught when you get drafted first round, by year 3 you should know what you have. Well, this was year 3
it.
for him. So you know what you have now.
Yep.
But will it continue? We don't know. But he had a magical year. But to just jump him above all these guys, see, I'm a person that I can't crown you unless I see it more than once. I can't, when you got guys who've been consistent. Jerry Rice, a lot of people consider him the greatest ever. He didn't lead the league in receiving every year. No. He didn't lead the league in touchdowns every year. But everybody knew, push come to shove, I want that guy.
Yeah.
That's just how sports work. You're not going to be at the top and win all the awards all the time. But who is the guy? JSN is one of the guys. So we can't base it off the money because I don't think anybody in this room will raise their hand and say DK Metcalf is a top 5 wide receiver.
Right.
He's getting top 5 money.
Yeah.
So you can't really base it off the money, but JSN had a phenomenal year at the perfect time. And the market is just the market. It is what it is. If you all pro or Pro Bowl and you have a dominant year, you have a chance to be the highest paid in the league.
On a contract year.
On a contract year.
Yeah.
That's just how the league goes.
Okay,
For
so
receivers too, man.
Yeah.
You look up about 10, 1,400 plus yard receivers. And depending on who they playing with and how many targets they get, if they weren't, they could be quick in the 1,700 yard range, easily 1,800.
Right after them was Garrett Wilson. He's next in line for being paid. Will anybody say Garrett Wilson top 5 wide receiver?
No.
I don't think so. You see what I'm saying? So you can't really base it off, oh, he's the highest paid. He earned that highest paid based off what he did in the year he did it in and completing it. Yeah. I don't think anybody will argue whether JSN earned his money. But the debate of whether he's the best in the league, he's done it once.
Yeah.
He's done it once. Compared to these guys who've done it multiple times, I can't jump him over these guys. His trajectory, like you said, incredible. But let's see where it goes from here.
but he did do it at a really high
He did it at
level all the
extremely
way
high
home.
level.
All
the
and
way
with
home.
Sam
I'll give him
Darnold.
credit for it,
So-
like you said, improving every year now. You know, he did it with
It's
Geno
a- it's a
Smith,
dependent
multiple
position.
quarterbacks. If you do it, you get even more. Chase, he had 3 backups, playing this year.
Yeah, no, he did. He rotated.
Jefferson, he did it one year
But Chase
with
also
Kirk
didn't have
Cousins
the
and 4
production
other guys.
that he had the Triple Crown year. So
No,
how much
no.
of
But he
Jamar
still had
Chase is a
1,400
product of
yards.
Joe Burrow?
He had 1,400 yards.
No, very impressive. But JSN also got 1,700 yards with Sam Darnold, who wasn't actually throwing the
Well, I
rock
mean,
as much as he could have.
Jordan
They were
Jefferson-
protecting the football.
Also had around 1,400 yards with Sam Darnold. So Sam Darnold's a damn good quarterback.
Right.
Damn good
When you a
quarterback.
guy, you a
just need
guy.
a
I know a guy. I played with a guy in Tampa. He's a guy. He had a million quarterbacks. He's in San Fran right now.
Now,
Mike
outside the
Evans.
interception.
He had a bunch of different quarterbacks.
And
And Mike,
Thousand.
Because when you a guy, you a guy.
Yeah.
It didn't matter who was throwing the ball. It's freaking Mike Evans. Throw him the ball. Find a way to give him the ball.
1,500 yards.
Okay,
that
do you
Jettis.
trust JSN
He did
going
with
forward to
Sam Darnold.
continue to put up these numbers?
I do.
Yeah,
For sure.
I-
No, he is that good. But I'm saying when we start doing rankings, now you
I
gotta get
understand.
nitpicky.
No, I
You know
got
what I'm
it.
saying?
I got
Yeah.
it.
But he is,
This
yes.
is what I didn't bring up that I do appreciate at the highest level about JSN. He seems to me, and I'm not there, but he seems like a really good human being.
Yeah, he
They
does.
seem to really like him, and he's not the typical crazy diva receiver because, as Kinsey just pointed out, it is a dependent position. It drives most of them over the edge crazy because they feel like they're an NBA player playing NFL football, and they need the highlights. And they can't control their highlights because they can't throw themselves the football. So a really good receiver can get doubled or tripled, and Cody just can't find him, and it never feels right. And so they get 2 catches for 8 yards, and they're out of their minds because it's not. Don't look at me, and they're most of them products of or prisoners of the internet in the comments, and they look and say, and people are saying, what happened to you today? Well, I ran every route as hard as I could run it, but JSN seems to be stable psychologically.
And let's see
young.
how that health goes.
Yeah.
You know, in the NFL, you should have one unhealthy year. You play 10 games instead of 17. them numbers drop. We see it all the time.
Yeah.
Like, we got to remember, we have to stay healthy.
And I think there's a fine line to your point, Skip, and that's a good point, between really good and elite. And that's why I say he went into that category, but the elite receivers aren't one-dimensional. They have versatility, and that's what JSN did. He had just as much production from the slot as he did on the outside. So now it makes it difficult for a defense to double-team him all game long. Let's put him at number 1 in a 1x3 or a 3x1 all the way on the inside, lined up against a Will or Sam, Mike linebacker, whoever you want it to be. Try to double right there with a backer. Maybe try to get into dime and do some different looks. But the way that you can move him around is going to dictate what the defense does, and it's going to force him to make adjustments, which almost makes it impossible to double team him because he can play outside, inside, left, right. He can do all these different things. Hell, and against the Rams a couple times, he was running routes out of the backfield. He got a touchdown on a corner route against the Rams in the NFC Championship game. There's just multiple ways that you can use them, so it's and a lot of that credit is to Clint Kubiak, how he uses them. But you have to have elite receiver that can play multiple different spots, and that's what JSN, Jamar Chase, guys like that.
He look like a little running back back there. You know, he's very powerful for being.
But did you see what happened on that play? Like they Cup ran a little return route, then they ran a post with Shaheed, who took out both safeties, and now because of the game plan and because of the play design by Kubiak, you've got one-on-one with the Will linebacker. Good luck. How are you going to cover that guy? How are you going to double that? And you're going to walk in touch.
And before we move on, just kind of giving insight to kind of how I was trained mentally. When I made my first Pro Bowl, Sap called me, and Sap said, okay, now they know you exist. What now? And he told me, you can't be the same person every year and be successful in this league. So now everybody has geared what they do to beat the champs. If you look at the 2 high safeties, it's because nobody could stop Kansas City. So they had to figure out, okay, how do we slow this bombs over Baghdad offense? So everything was built around how do we stop that? Philly won, okay, now how do we figure out? Everybody's going to try and figure out how to stop Seattle. That's how football goes. So now let's see, now that everybody knows you are who you are, now let's see what happens. They know what you can do. They know what's on the way. So let's see. And that is when you can start crowning people. You never had to wonder. Now, granted, I'm reaching here because I'm talking about arguably the greatest and Michael Jordan. You knew he was going to do a fadeaway. You couldn't stop it. There's nothing you could do about it. There's nothing you could do. There's nothing you could do to prepare for that. And when we start crowning people and putting people as the greatest or at the top, is because we've seen everything. SGA's record of the 20 points, he's seen everything. What defense have they came out with that he hasn't seen? He's still getting his 20 points. That's when you know, all right, he's one of those. So JSN, his trajectory, his skill set, what we've seen him do, he has the ability to keep doing this, but it's yet to be seen. Let's see what happens.
Okay, so my bottom line is Jamar Chase is more talented, all around more talented than JSN. But on just sheerly ability to get open consistently, JSN is at least as good as Jamar at just getting open, however you define getting open.
Yes.
Because he was really it for them. He was by far it for them, and he just kept getting open all the way home to a championship. So something about him is weird and hard to sort of put your finger on. He just has, for all those reasons you just said, it's the route running, it's the rhythm, it's the stop-start, it's the IQ, it's feeling of both DBs, if you're bracketed or high-low, it's the feel of it, and getting Sam on the trustability scale where he knows you're going to go where he thinks you're going to go every single time. Nobody did it better than those two together did for the year. And I know Joe Burrow was hurt for most of the year.
And Kubiak's not there no more, right?
No.
You know,
Okay, now let's see what happens.
And if it
And
keeps-
let's see what
Coordinators
happens
matter.
when he come in as a threat, like you said, from the beginning of the season. Because this year, you know, we all knew he was a good receiver coming out.
But dang.
yeah, I don't think we expected.
It was like he wasn't. I wouldn't say teams wasn't worried about him, but he wasn't that threat as what he is now.
By year's end, it was like, my goodness.
Exactly. Mid-season, it was like,
He might be kind of,
This dude, you know, he ain't a one-trick pony,
Yeah.
like you say.
And they lost their running back. I mean, Charbonnet will be healthy
They
again,
did.
but, you know, there's a lot of changes in this offense. Now it's like, all right, you know what I'm saying?
You got to wear the jacket.
I must admit, I did text Akib during the Pro Bowl, which was just flag football this year. But remember, Chase wound up playing defense in the Pro Bowl and picks a ball off at the goal line with a catch where you're like, God, that's just real. Like he should do that also. You know, he should go both ways, right?
Yep.
Travis Hunter.
Well, what Akib would say, though, is he does judge guys based on their chips. And I will say JSN has a chip.
He does have a chip.
Jamar Chase doesn't, but majority of the chat is going with Jamar Chase, and then it drops significantly, and they vote JSN, and then right under JSN they have Justin Jefferson. But a guy that actually wasn't on this list, who I think we need to bring up in conversation right now and talk about, is next man up, which is Puka Nacua.
Yeah.
Because he's on the last year of his deal, and he's going to probably get an extension from the Rams, which is going to be fat. And bringing him into the conversation, a lot of people would say he's the best receiver in the NFL right now. But I do want to look at his NFL rankings, because in receptions per game, he's ranked first, and this is since 2023. And then receiving yards per game, he's ranked second, and then first downs per game, he's ranked first. This is since 2023. So are we sleeping on Puka? Is Puka the best receiver in the league? So, Skip, do the Rams now have to give Puka a bigger extension?
They do, and they will.
Okay.
And once again, talking about the intangibles, he's a really good guy. I had the pleasure of meeting him after one of our
He is
shows.
in the news a lot, though. He loves a headline.
Yeah, but
kind
not
of on
in a bad way.
Loaded.
No, he's getting. He's kind of. He's partying, Skip.
Okay, all right. So, all right, maybe he's celebrating his money prematurely, right? But
And his brother.
I think JSN's maybe a little better guy.
Slap the motherfuckers.
okay,
Pow,
but
shut up.
if JSN got 42.15 per year, just what it'll come quickly now. They were just waiting to see what Seattle did.
Yeah.
And Puka will get 44, and what did JSN get? 120 guaranteed. So Puka will get 125 guaranteed. It just keeps going up and up. And nobody plays harder. Nobody runs more angry after catch than Puka does. I mean, I'm just not. It just wows me to watch him, especially when he gets loose and catches one. And even against Seattle in the NFC Championship game, at the game at Seattle, remember the last throw of the game, he made an incredible catch on the boundary, and time ran out. But he's right up there with the other two that we just talked about, and he will get his money. And if I may add this in, as a lifelong diehard Dallas Cowboy fan, I am dreading him getting his money in the next month or so, because I got a guy in Dallas who is strapped with the
Franchise.
the tag right now, and it's sitting at $27.3 million. So he's going to hear that Puka gets 44. And he's going to sit back and say, God, I'm Mr. Highlight. I lead the league in highlights. I lead the league in spectacular catches. I'm coming off my career year, and I'm stuck at 27.3. And again, Akib and I have argued. He says, he'll just bite his lip and be happy with it for 1 year, and then can go back to the table for his. But I just don't. He's never demonstrated to me happiness. It's why Mike Tomlin said more trouble than worth and got rid of him and gave him away for a third-round pick. So these two big bombshell contracts of wideouts are going to put me in a bigger and bigger bind in Dallas. This is going to be a big ongoing problem for the Dallas Cowboys. I don't love anything about it, because he's going to want his money and want it now, because just because you're tagged doesn't mean you can't continue to negotiate through camp. So they are going to start making waves, and he's not going to be a happy camper come July, August.
Well, he's going to get $45 million next year. I'd be like, listen.
I don't know.
Life is good knowing that
I
you're
know,
the
but
next man up right
a
after
year
that.
is a long time to wait.
And he has to perform well this year.
Man, I think Puka is an excellent receiver, right? The thing I love about Puka is his yak yardage, right? He had 729 yak. That led to NFL, but do they have to pay Puka? I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure.
Whoa.
You're a fifth-round draft pick, right? And you putting up these amazing numbers, right? The last person to do that in your same position was a third-round draft pick, Cooper Kupp, who won a Triple Crown, Offensive Player of the Year. So why not draft another receiver in the third or fourth round and put him in that same position and save you $30 million a year for him to do the exact same thing? Why not build a receiver and make him everything that you've been making the receivers in this Rams
So you're saying
offense?
it's not that hard to
As
find
long
another
as
Puka.
you have that quarterback and that head coach, you can find a Puka with the Rams.
Whoa.
Not saying across the league, but with the Rams.
I don't know
Now,
if you can
will
find a
somebody
Puka.
else
That's what I'm saying. Where
give
do you-
him a bag? I think there's 31 other teams, 30 at least, that'll give him a bag. But do the Rams have to give Puka a bag, just what they've done with receivers in the last 10 years? I'm not quite positive in that. I'm just not quite positive that
Do
they
you think
have
they
to.
just grow on trees out here in Southern
I mean,
California?
they must. They grow on palm trees and
I mean,
coconuts. They
How
drop it
many
from the
times
sky.
did Cooper Kupp have great seasons?
At least 3.
You just saw it from 2023.
No, Cooper
Cooper
Kupp.
Kupp.
Oh, sorry.
Good.
4 or 5, right?
No, I said great seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One?
One.
One amazing season.
One amazing, but he had
Yeah, but
4
he
or
had
5
other-
good seasons.
Yeah.
I said great.
Okay.
Yeah.
I say at
I
least-
use my words
Very-
very.
yeah.
You do
Great.
it, Kinsey.
Yeah.
What's great? 1,500 yards?
1,300 and above.
1,300? He
One?
got it.
Let me see.
Yeah, we got one.
You can keep going though.
No, I'm just asking because it's it ain't as simple as you made it seem. You know, to do what he's done. I think he was a revelation. Nobody seen that coming when they drafted Puka out of BYU. They wasn't like, oh yeah, we can get us another Cooper Kupp. I don't think
Nope.
they was getting a guy to add to Cooper Kupp, and then he was like, oh, shoot,
But that's
we
for
get-
good reason.
he
But
get-
when we talk
you know-
about that Rams offense all the time, we talk about how they've been inserting guys in that Z position, making them their ability to fit within zones, catch the ball, and run after the catch. What I'm saying is, if I'm the Rams and I've done it with 2 receivers who were mid-round draft picks, why not try my hand at it again with this draft, especially with a bunch of receivers coming in, or even next year, and not have to give $30 million?
And you said as long as they got
I'm thinking-
the quarterback, how long are they gonna have him?
Stafford?
Yeah, one more year,
2,
maybe.
3 more years.
You think?
So, okay, so to that point, is that next quarterback going to be able to get it done for Puka, and you paying this receiver all this money and you don't have a quarterback?
Well, we don't know, but you can't base it off just the quarterback and what has he done since he stepped foot in the league?
Man,
what
Puka,
he's done
in the last 3 years,
what
he had 4,000 yards, 19 touchdowns in the last 3 seasons.
Okay, but Gerald made an
But Puka-
excellent point. Cooper Kupp has had one amazing. The rest of the season, he only had one other season over 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And what Puka has done since he's been in the league is only been All-Pro twice, Pro
Yeah.
Bowl twice. Since he stepped foot in the league, we gotta think.
Yep.
Cooper had been in the league and then he did that. This dude has done it since he stepped foot in the league.
Okay. But
So-
as soon as Cooper did it, he tore his knee up the next
That's
year.
what I'm
and then
saying. So-
he was a
But
shell
you
of
got
himself.
this guy who's still young,
Yeah.
and he's just really getting started. It's like JS said, he's just really getting started.
Both are going into year 4.
Yeah. So when I look at, do they have to pay him or will they? Yes, because he has the accolades to back it. But I always think outside of just the paying him, which is what a lot of fans don't understand about contracts. Fans don't really look into where is the contract being paid at. He has to get paid in California. So when people look at the numbers, I'm gonna give y'all a little insight. When people look at the number of contracts, y'all gonna see the number that's posted on TV, but there's a lot of different things that goes into that. Is it front loaded? Front loaded meaning do you get a lot of your money in the first couple of years, or is it spread out over all the years? How many guaranteed years do you have where your money is guaranteed? And then when you post that number, I've known people who say, I know I'm not making this much, as much as it'll say, but when they say it on TV, make it say this. Although you're not making all that money, but you have ability to make up to that money. Well, in California, a lot of people don't understand, you get paid wherever you play. He's going to play most of his games in California. But if he plays in Florida, he'll get taxed according to playing a game in Florida. But most of his money is going to come from California. So when he gets paid, they have to overpay him to account for the money that JSN is going to get in a state with no state taxes. So when I say, do they have to pay him, like, really? Yeah, you have to. If he's going to be comfortable getting the money he get, you got to overpay me to account for the taxes. And that's what a lot of people are not looking into.
True.
Puka plays in California. And the state taxes here, JSN ain't got no state taxes.
Well, they just
We're going
got
to get
it.
in the pickings.
Seattle.
We're going to get in the pickings.
Washington.
Texas,
Yeah.
no state taxes. I played most of my career in
that's-
Florida.
yeah.
No state taxes. You know, I like
a lot of money.
So they're going to have to overpay him
And
to
where do you
account
live?
for the.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You live in
yeah,
Dallas.
yeah, and I live in Dallas. So yeah,
Oh, shit, I didn't know you was in Dallas, brother.
yeah. So yeah, I think they're gonna have to overpay him because they have to account for all those taxes. Especially if he could look at the number and they could post it. Oh, he made $2 million more, this much more guaranteed. But then once you tax it, JSN might still make more.
Yeah.
You know, so when you look at these, from moving forward fans, when y'all looking at these players, look at where they're getting paid at. And then you'll understand how much money they're really
Didn't
making.
they just give the cornerback a record-setting contract this past year?
Right.
I mean, that's a lot of money going now.
Oh,
You wanna-
McDuffie?
Yeah, you better get
Yeah.
your books in order. You have
Yeah.
the high-paid corner, the highest-paid receiver, highest-paid quarterback, or like,
Yeah.
shit, something got to give.
He's not the highest paid.
But
Well, not
they
right
do-
now,
they
but he's a
do.
quarterback.
He was,
That's
yeah,
the thing,
He's one of the
not
best
anymore.
quarterbacks.
Matt Stafford.
So
is
he's
getting-
highly paid.
But that's what Les Snead has done. He's done a great job of building this roster through the draft as well. They've drafted
Exactly
really
my
well.
point.
Now, I know everybody's going to come to the table at some point and be ready to get paid, but they have the funds right now to make these payments because of how well they've done building the draft. In reality, too, or building through the draft, they only had one first-round pick, I think, since 2016, and you know, they still have been able to find some really good players in the mid to late rounds. But, yeah, I absolutely think Puka Nacua should be paid. And you know, it came down to both of these guys. One of them was going to set the market shortly after the next guy was going to reset it. It just happened that JSN went first. Now Nacua is going to get paid. But I'm going to push back a little bit on that, TJ. I think Nacua is a problem on the outside. And obviously you got to give credit to Sean McVay in that offense. He does a great job of scheming him open and you know, getting him some easy catches. But I absolutely do not think Puka Nacua is just a product of Sean McVay's scheme. I think you could put him on 31 other offenses in the NFL. Now, obviously, there's some other great players in the league that he would have to share, you know, catches with and targets with, but I think he could still have the same production or close to it in every different scheme in the league. That's the type of player he is. And you even talked about it. One of those points being yards after catch. I may scheme you to get open, but what you do after after you catch the football is up to you. I can't
50-50
coach that.
balls.
That's you. Contested catches, especially outside of his frame,
Oh, my
which
God.
is really impressive because a lot of those contested catches, if you're hitting the guy in the chest, I got to reach out and get it. All right, you might get a hand slap. He's making contested catches
Yeah, one in
outside of his
Carolina.
frame. His catch rate
Yeah, one in
is-
Carolina.
Yes.
I think
Not everybody can
overall,
do that.
The game is being favorable to these receivers. So every year you got a team coming in with, if it's not Ohio State receiver or Alabama receiver, they on the trajectory to have 900 yards this year, 1,100 yards this year, 1,400 yards this year. Man, you look like Egba in Tampa. Like, there's a reason.
I wouldn't compare him to Puka.
What?
You
Have
would?
you seen him play?
Yeah, but
Who, a
He's in
Buka?
his second year.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
could watch
that's
some
why-
film.
that's why I
That's a
compared
bad
him.
man.
I can't
Emeka
compare him to
Puka could
Puka,
be-
man.
Look,
Nah, I
he-
can't
he-
compare
yeah, I
You know
don't
what, though,
either.
too? You know
I
another
think he's
thing?
going to be
But
an
I'm not
amazing
saying
receiver,
don't get
but
me
he's
wrong, I
not
didn't
going to
say
be an
Puka
elite
shouldn't
receiver.
get paid. Do the Rams have to pay Puka? I don't think they have to pay Puka. But
I mean, they don't have- they don't
you
have
talked
to.
definitely
about
should get paid.
You talked about
He's still under contract, his rookie contract. You
Yeah.
don't have to do anything.
well, you talked about Cooper Kupp and Puka coming in and doing what he did. Well, the only reason they was able to do that is because Cooper was on the team, and then they brought Puka in, and they seen what he can do. Right now, they don't have that guy that's there where you like, he might be. I don't know. Let's just wait. They just don't. You know, Tay is older.
yeah, he's older.
You know,
sure.
so
But he still was
Tutu-
killing that red
Tutu's
zone.
gone, and Tutu
Gone.
never had that production. So
Yeah. But
you know-
right now it's like, you know,
And you know another thing, too, that I think makes Puka Nacua so valuable as a number one wide receiver is his willingness to block, especially in that offense. Like, he's not afraid as a Z to motion down, to insert in the C gap and block a forced defender. And with Sean McVay, that is huge because then I can run play action off of that. Now you're going to insert in the C gap, slip that DB or slip the safety and then run a high corner and I can hit you on a big-time play. There's not a lot of number one wide receivers in the NFL that are willing to come down and block a linebacker or a force safety down in the box. He does that down after down. He uses his size and his power to his advantage. So that's my whole point is, obviously Sean McVay is a genius. And what he does schematically is second to none. It really is. But Puka Nacua is not a product of that scheme. He takes advantage of the scheme, but what he does with the ball afterwards and the ways that he gets open and makes some of those contested catches is the skill set that he brings to the table, and I think that's very well worth being the highest paid receiver in the NFL.
So what was the play of the year that Puka made for the Rams? The play of the year was a defensive play, right?
Oh, he broke the against
Carolina. It was. I mean, that's a game saver. That's a season saver, right?
Yeah, it was.
Because he didn't give up on a throw that he knew he couldn't catch.
Yeah.
That a lot of diva receivers will just say, I don't have any shot at that, and just let the guy catch it. And he went and fought for it and saved that game.
Yeah.
They're not going to win if that's an interception.
And I mean, and he's another guy that's in that category of we know we want to get 12 the football. The defense knows it. Everyone in the stadium knows it. You still just can't stop him.
Yeah.
You know, in the game against the Seahawks that they ended up losing, but he goes for 250 yards without Devontae Adams on the field.
Yeah.
He was the primary target, still went for 250 and almost pulled off the win there at the end. It's just those guys aren't everywhere out there. Elite wide receivers, that small category, aren't just accessible everywhere. You don't know if you're going to find one in the draft.
Where would you rank Puka as far as what would you?
It's tough to put them in order right now. Because it's still like they said. The whole point is the bigger body of work.
Though.
But he's absolutely in the top 5. I think he's in that small elite category.
Well, you would take JSN over Puka. You would take JSN over Puka.
That's a tough one. Because if you look at their numbers statistically,
Really
Puka in 7 less games in his career has more receptions and yards, but he does have 1 less touchdown. So he's putting up, more numbers at a higher rate. But what JSN brings to the table and the different things he can do versatility-wise and how you can move him around within the offense. And, he hasn't had the luxury of playing with Matthew Stafford, which is another factor in this. He played with Geno Smith and Sam Darnold, but there's an argument for both. I think right now I would probably take JSN.
Okay.
Just off of last year and how he played. But it is, you give me either one, I'm happy. I really don't care.
But to your point, you said there's not many people that have a Puka. So you don't think that other teams would be willing to pay him more than the Rams would?
I think they would.
That's what I'm saying there.
I think the Rams would be making a mistake.
That's what I'm saying right there.
I think they would.
It may be out of their control.
Who's the most important player on that team?
Matt Stafford.
Do you think that, let's be clear about something.
Terry I got 1 year left.
Terry McLaurin didn't get paid the way he got paid because he was Terry McLaurin. Although Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry's been really good in this league.
Yeah.
They paid him because they was worried about Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
He needed a guy.
Well, sure.
Remember when he was out there, he was like threatening not to come back?
He was.
All this and this. They said, wait, hold up. You talk about him all the time. The rookie year he had, they said, okay, we need this to continue. In order for that to continue, you need a guy.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford has been incredible. But as he continues, Matthew Stafford ain't going to be like, hey, I don't know, whatever y'all do, whatever. No, heck no.
He's
Hit him. Keep him here.
Can you imagine Stafford walking into the building
Keep him
and looking
in
at
this
Les
building.
and Sean McVay in the face and them saying, hey, we let Puka walk, by the way, when you have maybe 1 or 2 years left to go get another ring.
Man.
Man,
Yeah.
no, they are.
All that factors in. They going to go to 9 like, hey.
Okay,
he going to go upstairs and say, y'all
TJ,
better pay him.
You said they don't have to pay Puka. If you're in charge, do you pay Puka right now?
If I'm the Rams, I pay Puka. I definitely would, just because what you guys just mentioned.
The whole argument is they don't have to.
No, I pay because
we want
the window. We talked about the window.
Yeah, they have a couple.
And then you just said, you brought it up with Stafford about how long does he have?
Yeah.
So that window, I pay him for that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I'm Puka and the Raiders come and offer me more money than the Rams, I'm sorry, I'm staying with the Rams.
Hey,
I'm
man,
this
they
close to a chip. I'm this close to a chip with the Rams. I got Matt Stafford.
They were a couple bad decisions away from being in the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
And I think I think a majority would believe if the Rams played the Patriots,
They would have won.
They would have won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
No
If
doubt.
anybody played the Patriots, they
Look,
would have won the Super Bowl.
That is great.
I hear you. Puka's becoming a party boy. We get that. But that team loves him. You can just see. And he plays with a lot of joy.
Yeah.
He's got a big smile. And he's the energizer of that whole show to me. that they feed off him, run after catch. So I don't get diva in him. He's not making waves, or he's not a complainer, or.
Pretty deep.
So does he take less money to stay in LA?
He went to BYU. He's
not be
he's
the
finally
highest paid?
free.
Yeah, he's finally free. I
what
think
if
maybe
he's
I
not
just
the
feel
highest
personal
paid, Skip?
things that I'm like,
If he's not the highest paid receiver
He
in the
can't live
league,
it up
does
in
he stay in
BYU.
LA?
LA, huh?
He's not.
If he's not the highest paid receiver, the Rams say, hey, we got
You mean if they just
$39 million for you.
if they just say
instead of
play
43.
out your deal?
I don't think the
play out
Rams
your
would
rookie
ever do
deal.
that.
yeah, that's pretty crazy. Maybe if you offered 42.
I mean, he's on a 5th round
Yeah,
contract.
I know.
Right
He's
now.
not getting peanut.
Yeah.
I don't think they would ever lowball him like that and try to get him, below market offer. He, like I said, man, he's next up. And even if you don't agree, he's the best receiver in the league. You might not think he's ahead of Jamar Chase.
He's
You said it
arguable.
yourself.
Yeah.
Arguably, you're
And we just
next
saw the
man
rankings,
up. You're going to reset the market if you're that guy and you're going into a
Yeah,
contract year.
accolades and next man up
Yeah.
will get you.
Yeah, and I always said this, and I will always be a firm believer in this. The best contracts in the NFL, they aren't rewards, they're investments, right? They're investing in what you're going to do, and both JSN and Puka Nacua are great investments and are worth every single penny, in my opinion.
For sure.
Well, while we're on big contracts for receivers, you did touch a little
brought
bit
on-
on Pickens.
yeah.
I want to dive more into that because obviously they franchise tag him, but Pickens could be getting those big bucks right now as well. So how is the JSN contract going to
Okay,
affect?
let Gerald go because I think you wanted to go.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
spoke my piece.
Yeah, I just when I think about Pickens, should he want as much as JSN got? No.
Well, will he?
Is he going to? Most likely,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
He
he
has
is
to
drunk.
understand, and Lee
is
talk
drunk.
about it all the time. You know this. You win a Super Bowl, you don't have to be even the top of the top. You just get paid because you come off a Super Bowl win. There was a point in time where I was the highest paid defensive tackle. And in that time frame of, let's say, that 2 or 3 year window, Ndamukong Suh, Hall of Fame worthy. Geno Atkins, Hall of Fame worthy. Cam Hayward, Hall of Fame worthy. You had Gerald Casey, he's a 5-time Pro Bowler. Justice Smith, 5-time Pro Bowler. All these D tackles that I could name in that time frame. You know who passed me as the highest paid defensive tackle per year? Malik Jackson. You know Malik.
I play with Malik.
He got paid the year after they won the Super Bowl with the Broncos. He didn't have a Pro Bowl or All-Pro at that time. And he got paid higher than me. I was 3 Pro Bowls and 2 All-Pros in. You know why? Because he won. He won, and he was on the best defense in all of football. So when you look at Pickens and then you look at JSN, first team All-Pro, Offensive Player of the Year, and they won. That's a different level than Puka, first team All-Pro, second team All-Pro, 2-time Pro Bowler. So when you're looking at these guys that got paid, the Rams were in the NFC Championship. The Seattle Seahawks just won the Super Bowl. So there's levels to getting paid. Is he going to want to get paid like that? If he had the accolades to match it, but his team just didn't win, okay, he has an argument. But you don't have that.
Yeah.
You don't have either one. You don't have the win. Y'all missed the playoffs. You played great, but y'all missed the playoffs. And both of those guys were on winning teams. So with what we've seen, like what Skipper said,
But Jamar Chase
it looks
wasn't
like
on the winning team. He got paid.
it looks like they went to the Super Bowl.
But that was 2 years before.
But he had the accolades to match what he got paid.
That's
you
fair.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
But yeah, that's fair.
Pickens don't have if he was first team All-Pro and had 3 Pro Bowls and all, okay, I got an argument over
Yeah.
here. But I don't believe that. I mean, I can't tell guys what they should want money-wise, but he shouldn't expect to get paid like those two. He just, I mean, look at CD.
You think
CD's
he will,
been
though?
more because
You think he will expect 42 plus
yeah.
right now?
Heck yes.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think what we seen, like
I mean, you look,
Maybe
and it's a
starting-
reason
maybe
why you
starting
think that
out.
because
Pickens,
of what
I'm
we've
saying.
seen.
That's
like,
what I'm saying. Like
this
Pickens,
is ability.
He gonna sit back
You
and be
talk
like,
about the
man, hey,
investment.
listen. And
Yeah,
then
no, I'm-
we ain't helping. We not helping the case. Sorry, Skip. We not helping the case. When we sitting here on this couch and say, oh, he the best deep threat in all of football and best 50-50 guy and all, he hear all that.
Talking
he
about.
he hearing all that. You know what I'm
Gotta get
saying?
cheaper.
And then he looking at, okay, when CD went out, what did I do? Look at what I did. I can be one. I'm
was
one
their
of them
number
too.
1 last year.
I'm one of them too.
Dak's top
You know what I'm
two.
saying? So I understand, but it's levels, man.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Man, I mean, Dallas got some decisions to make.
Yeah.
You know, paying 2 receivers when you just pay CD, 4 years, 136. You know, it's hard to go out and spend a lot of your budget on 2 wide receivers, but I think Pickens is absolutely worth it, man. I think he's worth top receiver money. Just what we seen, the 1,400 yards, 93 receptions, 9 TDs, splitting the ball with another receiver, right?
Yeah.
Another top 5 receiver, man. That's hard to do. 1,400, we just talked about, you said what's great? 1,300 plus. Had a great season.
A great season.
Probably have another great season. May back it up with 1,600 yards. You don't know what he does this year. But to your point, it's an investment. And there are more than 20 teams out there that need a player like Pickens. And that will give him that top dollar, point blank, period. Like every team needs a playmaker. Every team needs somebody that goes up, beat the double teams, beat the one-on-ones, and this is my dependable receiver that I can throw him the ball every time, whether I have a number 1 or number 2 receiver or not. We just talked about JSC and being the receiver that we had to go to because we didn't really have a reliable number 2 threat. I mean, Cooper Kupp, good receiver, but not that number 2 like CD or George Pickens can be considered the number 2. Not like T. Higgins in Cincinnati considered the number 2. Like there was nobody. There's no team like that Pickens is going to go to that cannot use him in that way. So having a dependable number 1, man, he's going to garner that top receiver money just because he's up next. You talked about Malik. We were a winning team, but I don't think that matters at the receiver positions as much because of his ability, what he's going to do, what we've seen he can do just in last year with a quarterback like Dak, right? You put him with a young quarterback, Tennessee,
I see him leaving Dallas and being wide
like Minnesota, if you put Jefferson's there, but I mean, maybe not Minnesota, but somewhere that has a younger quarterback, Cleveland, that can just throw the ball up and find him and know, hey, you in trouble, I'm going to him.
Yeah.
He's going to get 45 when his time is up. He's going to get that just because of his ability. Yeah. It's the investment.
Yeah, no, so I agree with that. I think George Pickens is absolutely one of the top receivers in the league. I don't know if he's quite in that elite category, but he definitely can get there. But the reason I ask if he's going to ask for $42 million is because they're paying CeeDee Lamb $34 million a year right now. And George Pickens last year, to me, looked like he had the best year that he had in the NFL, at least from enjoying being in Dallas, having a partner like CeeDee Lamb, playing with Dak, the targets that he was getting. I wonder if he would be okay with getting a $34 to $35 million contract, maybe $35 to $40 to stay in Dallas, as opposed to going out there and demanding $42 million to go elsewhere.
Shit. Why would I stay in Dallas?
Arguably,
not to win.
Outside of maybe Los Angeles,
but
the
we
Rams
didn't make
got
the
the number
playoffs.
1 offense.
But I'm not taking no pay cut. You think Puka?
It's not. But I wouldn't say that as. I don't think it's a pay cut, in my opinion. I don't think that he's in that category to ask for JSN or Puka Nacua money. I think he's close to it. I think he's in the top 4 to 5 category, absolutely. But you got to remember, Dallas is paying Dak $60 a year. They're paying CeeDee Lamb $34 a year. If they want to keep that trio together, I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas was more comfortable around that 35 to 40 range, or George Pickens was okay with being in that range just to stay in Dallas. But at the end of the day, none of this really matters right now because the Cowboys are in control. They placed the franchise tag on George Pickens. They have full control over the situation. If a team comes in and offers him a new contract, Dallas has first option to either match that contract, or if they let him walk, then they get 2 first-round picks in return. So they're in full control right now. And again, I like George Pickens. I think he brought an extra element to that offense. As a quarterback, I am a huge fan of having a 1A and a 1B. It makes your life so much easier, and then being able to hand it off to Javonte Williams in the backfield as well. So if I'm Dak, I'm saying do everything you can to keep Pickens in Dallas, but I think he would be okay being around CeeDee Lamb type of money to be able to stay in Dallas instead of going out there and getting $42 million elsewhere, if he even could.
I don't know if he'd
CeeDee got paid 2 years ago, man. We got families to feed.
I get it, but CeeDee Lamb is still 4th highest paid receiver in the NFL.
So you tell me you put George Pickens with the
Rams,
you put him with Seattle, he don't have the exact same numbers as Puka or JSN? Or better?
Those are what ifs. I mean, he has the skill set too. Absolutely has the skill set.
Okay,
no
so
doubt.
give me my skill set money.
I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to let Skip go. You said 1A, 1B?
Yeah.
Okay. Name the 1A, 1B teams. You got Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got A.J. Brown,
the
Devontae
Rams,
Smith.
A.J. Brown,
Eagles.
Devontae.
Maybe the Vikings with Addison.
Okay.
Yeah.
Only one of those teams won a Super Bowl, and they won it on the back of a running back and a dominant defense.
Yep.
So you got to look at that too.
Yeah.
We pay George Pickens. Yeah, this is great. Our offense is wonderful. That side of the ball is the problem.
We got to pay them too.
That side of the ball is the problem. So do you want to invest all of this money into him and still leave that side struggling? Because if we look at the Rams offensively, I would say that we agree they had the two best. They had this one guy on Seattle, but they had a tandem.
Yeah.
Seattle won the Super Bowl.
Well, I guess it all depends on how they
You
draft.
can't Neiman
If
Marcus
Dallas
your
drafts
offense
well,
and group
That's
they've
what
got
I'm
the money to
saying.
play with
Right.
it because they
Seattle
got
had-
good defenders.
Seattle had JSN, but then they had that group on the other side of the ball.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's
You need one good receiver and a defense.
I'm just
And
saying.
my whole point is with CeeDee Lamb getting 34 a year, even though I know it was a couple years ago, how do you think he's going to feel seeing them pay George Pickens $8 million more per year to come in and arguably put up the same type of production that he's having?
Sure.
I feel like the Cowboys giving him that type of money would not be setting them up or putting them in a great position with what they need to do as a team. But the other issue is the longer you wait, say he does play on the franchise tag, he balls out this year, that market price is going to
if
get
he play on the
Up,
franchise
up.
tag this year and ball out, he won't be in Dallas.
You don't think so?
No, I don't.
No, hell no.
Heck no.
And if I was Dallas, I'd ride with my guy CD.
Okay.
You know.
Okay, to your point about what if George Pickens had been a Seahawk this past season, what would have happened in place of JSN? There's no way he puts up JSN numbers. I just don't think he's as mentally tough as JSN, taking double after double after double. Think of the single coverage that George Pickens got this year and down this past
That's
year.
a good point.
Okay, where it would just wear on him because he is shown to have lower football character. Even this year, again, there was a reason that Mike Tomlin, the great Mike Tomlin, said no to George Pickens, said he'll never grow up more trouble than worth. I give him away. I'll give him to you, Dallas, to get him out of our hair in Pittsburgh. I'll give him to you for a third-round pick. Okay, so now I look at George Pickens, looking at JSN, and JSN for a George Pickens, I'm going to put myself in his shoes for a second. I don't think that George Pickens' eye test would pass JSN. Like JSN is hard. If you just watch him on TV, there's no wow factor to it. It's just catch after catch, and you're like, how did he keep getting open? You don't see spectacular, you don't see circus catches, you don't see downfield jump ball catches. That's the way George Pickens operates. He's going to lead the league in spectacular downfield jump ball catches. He did this past year.
Yeah.
And Jerry Jones, trust me, loves that because Jerry Jones wants box office. He values box office, to me, more than he does winning football games. So Jerry Jones is going to be more likely and prone to pay George Pickens for box office, to keep him in Dallas with CD, keep them both as happy as you can keep them, because that sells tickets. But more important, it brings eyeballs to TV sets on Thanksgiving Day or whatever big Monday, Sunday night game that they play in.
But don't forget, Jerry wants to win. Well, how many?
Okay,
Four more Super Bowls.
That's baloney. That's in the end, he wants to sell more than he wants to win.
Let me tell you what he meant.
Okay.
To your point, I'm going to let you
Yeah.
finish. I sat in that team meeting in 2020. This is COVID year. First thing Jerry said to us is, I know we the show. I know how to keep us the show. There's a reason that we are who we are.
The show.
I know
They
how
are
to
the
be
show.
the show.
Hey,
And that's
Wait,
what Jerry
describe it,
wants
the
us to be
show.
the show.
Every year, the top 5 games rated will be Dallas Cowboy games,
Yeah,
and they were last year. They just are every year, just top 5 because of Monday nights, because of Thanksgiving, because of all the big stage games, opening night at Thursday night at Philadelphia last year, big, big, big. So my point is that George Pickens is going to look at JSN and say, come on, man, I'm better than he is. I test better. And he's going to start making waves under a tag. So he's making 27 to JSN's 42 million. 27 to 42. That's where it sits right now. And it's still open for negotiation. It's not that case is closed. Once you get tagged, that just extends your negotiating period through, into camp and toward the start of the year.
Yeah.
So they're going to go to the table and they're going to say, come on, give us 43, give us 44. And Jerry is going to be prone to cave in and give him that.
You think he's going to have a deal by this year?
I do think that he will extend him because Jerry loved the box office, the wow factor that George Pickens brought. And the idea that I've got the most dynamic duo at receiver is all Jerry really cares about. And who's the highest paid quarterback in football as we speak?
Dak Prescott.
By far. He makes $60 million. He's number one in the league, okay? So Jerry sort of, that's like a point of pride. I pay my guys the most money, and they were 7-9-1 last year. Way to go. Congratulations.
Jerry's also a stickler for actually his guys.
His guys.
He didn't draft.
Okay,
George
that's a great
Pickens,
point.
and
Because he stole George Pickens for a third-round pick. Jerry's saying, look at me, man. I know football, right?
Right.
Look what I pulled off. Look who I got.
Jerry likes to pay his guys. Like guys he drafted, he'll pay, though. That's why the whole Micah thing was such a big deal, because it's like, usually with my guys I draft, we usually get it done. We figure it out, whatever. So, we'll see. It just all depends. If I'm Pickens, what's the tag? 27?
27.3.
Okay, so I'm looking at the landscape, and I'm saying,
Which he's obviously more than 27.
yeah, I'm saying, but
exactly.
but now I'm looking at the landscape. So all of us athletes that play at the highest level, we're the ultimate competitors, and they're all, whether it shows or not, there's a sense of arrogance internally that we have to have in order to step on the field confidently. You have to believe you're the guy or one of the guys. So if I'm looking at George Pickens, if I'm Pickens, if I don't truly want to be in Dallas, if I'm here and it went well, whatever, you can play this year, stack you 27, and then I'm looking at the landscape. I'm saying, okay, who needs a guy next year?
Yeah.
So now I just got me an extra 27. Now I'm about to go really get this money in free agency next year. You know what I'm saying?
And you gotta ball out this
Yeah,
year.
and because he believes he is who he is. So he's saying, shoot, I can do it again. All I have to have, he don't. And what I'm saying
And he's getting single coverage.
is he was second team All Pro. Okay, let's say he's not. It's very difficult. It's the best of the best. It's very difficult to be All Pro. Okay, or even Pro Bowl, whatever. But All Pro for sure, because it's a limited number of spaces. So even if he's not an All Pro this season, but he has close to that production, he just showed I can do this 2 times. I showed you that I can be this guy, and I'm still sharing the ball with him.
Okay.
So imagine what happens if I can go somewhere and I'm getting the ball the entire time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just all about how Pickens look at it. Do I want to be here where it's like, who's one, or do I want to go where they drawing it up for me and I can stack 27?
Watching last year, though, I thought he liked that. It looked like him and they're even hanging out this offseason, CD and Pickens. I really think if they stuck together, if Dallas could find a way, obviously they have to work with the salary cap. Now, the cap increasing each year will help him if he's back at the table next year, but I think it would be beneficial for them to find a way to try to keep him happy, but also keep him in Dallas. And I'm not opposed to think that Pickens would be okay with maybe not being the number 1 highest paid guy, but still being top 3 or 4 in that range to stay in Dallas and still have the production that he had on offense.
I'm not talking about the money. I'm talking about the guy. Just being the guy.
He wants to be the
I don't
guy?
care what you talking about.
so
they drawing it
Still
up for
going to be
CD
the guy in
first.
Dallas because you're not.
Man, I don't know. Like last year, I know
Man,
Steve.
they
I know.
do that.
Man, I'm telling you,
if we were winning championships, that's what you do that for. But it's been proven that when you do that, look at Cincinnati, paying 2 receivers and your quarterback. You're not going to win no championships like that. You can't. So Skip is right. If they want to just be the show and do that, then you
That's
pay
what I'm saying.
Pickens and him and pay Dak.
You can pay him.
And you look cute and you don't give no money to your defense and it looks good, but you lose by 1 score and you be 7-9-1 year in, year out. But if you want to win a championship, you got to let one of them receivers go. And Pickens is going to get paid. I mean, he gets 1,000 yards in his sleep in Pittsburgh with an inconsistent to no quarterback, 1,000 yards, 900 yards in 14 games. Then he comes in and have 1 year of a consistent quarterback, goes 1,400 yards. 9 touchdowns. So you give him in another system with any team with a consistent quarterback, he's going to put up 14 to 16, 1,700 yards in today's day and age of these offenses and these receivers.
Because they going to go
Cody,
score.
with the
They
stats.
Cowboys.
I know stats.
I'm trying to learn from Cody a little bit. I'm trying to come off
Cowboys.
of this,
See, I say,
You know what's going to happen?
That was nice.
You know what's going to happen? Cowboys go score, and then the other team get the ball. And then what happens?
Ping pong,
Man, what game, man?
Yeah, ping pong. Get
Hey, but you know what? Hey,
that's
guess
the
what?
show.
Now we're in shootouts, and I'm getting 12 targets a game because we got to keep up with the other team.
Maybe.
Okay, timeout. One last point that nobody's made. I'm going to say it again. He got shipped out of Pittsburgh because he was never going to grow up, according to Mike Tomlin. And he comes to Dallas and immediately starts missing meetings and being late to meetings and misses the team bus on Monday night in Las Vegas to the football game. Misses the team bus completely. And on Thursday night at Detroit, in what was the turning point game of the year for me, after we'd just beaten back-to-back the 2 Super Bowl teams from a year ago. We'd beaten Philadelphia and we'd beaten Kansas City on Thursday. So a week later on Thursday, we go to Detroit, and I think even you agreed. I know Akib defended him, but I just thought he didn't show up for whatever reason, and my friend Richard Sherman just blasted the hell out of him on Amazon Prime after the game, saying that he looked uninterested in the game. Okay, that's who we're talking about here, right? Okay,
You're still convinced.
You're talking about the go ball that was inside. That,
yeah. Well, even
and then the one was kind of a dead play where it was a pick, but he looked like he gave up. But he wasn't
gave
even
up,
the
and then-
progression.
Stop talking from
you
a
said-
selfish
wait.
quarterback mindset, man.
No,
Be
I'm
objective.
defending
That-
Pickens.
Okay, wait.
I'm
Leave
defending
is that he's
Pickens.
like, man.
What was the first throw of the second half? Still a
can't get
close
to that,
game.
Rob.
And it's right here. I mean, on the slant, he hits him right here.
Yeah, he
and
did.
He
He's
just
right.
pops it up in the air. I think it was Anzalone just took it and went with it, right? Okay, great. Way to go.
But I could sit here though to
But
that
you
point,
think Gary's
Skip.
gonna find him
But
still.
to that point, I could sit here and put a highlight tape of all his bad plays and make an argument for, well, maybe he's not worth the money. But then I could turn around and put a highlight with even more positive plays and say this is why he is worth money.
I understand. There are a
all
bunch
these
of those.
receivers
Yeah.
have drops. I mean, CeeDee Lamb has struggled with drops. Jamar Chase has had some drops throughout his career. Like, these guys are going to have bad plays, but it's the upside and the potential. Do the positives outweigh the negatives? And for George Pickens, I think it absolutely does. Again, I just don't know if it's at $43 million or $44
Individually,
million.
because all money ain't good money. Individually, we talking about team here.
Okay, so
So if
wait
they
a second.
pay- yeah.
You got a Super Bowl ring. Are you okay with him being late to meetings consistently? Does that bother you at all as a team leader?
What's consistently, Skip?
I was reading every other
Couple
week. No,
times.
this was in
And
Dallas.
he was a brand new
But
to
you
the
know
team.
what?
Now
In
it's
the
not brand new. It's just
championship
going to
in the
get worse.
championship team, you got players to check that, right? But talent-wise, I want him on my team. Hell yeah. Let's
True.
have a
Right.
talk.
Agreed.
Pickens. Hey, bruh, you can't be late. We do shit different.
You know what?
around
You
here.
can't be late. You know it.
But who's
I mean,
the leader? Who's the leader in Dallas right now? that would
That's
have
the
that
problem.
conversation?
There's not one.
'Cause I don't
You know
see.
the
I don't
truth.
see Dak being
I
like,
don't see
Pickens,
Dak
sit
doing that.
down.
Dak's not that guy. He's not that
All right,
way.
guys, let's move on. Enough about the wide receivers. Let's move on to a star rookie running back that found himself in the headlines, okay? Because he went on Bring the Juice podcast. This is Skattebo. And he was asked if CTE is real. And he said no. So the world is kind of up in arms about this. He also
He
was
said
talking.
it was an excuse. Like
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
make
He
it
said
an
no.
excuse, right?
It's an
Right.
excuse.
Yeah.
That's pretty. And he was also talking about asthma.
Yeah.
And shitting on asthma. So he did take to X. This is what he said. I want to pull up his tweet. He said, "I recently did an interview and had a lapse in judgment, which resulted in me making tasteless jokes about CTE and asthma. It was never my intention to downplay the seriousness of head injuries or asthma. I seriously apologize to anyone who was offended by my remarks. I assume." I'll assure that I'll be more mindful and respectful going forward. I think obviously you guys know, looking at this kid, I mean, he's a kid, and I don't think he means what he says. He's just a kid, right? He's just always joking around, but these are some pretty insane comments. So, Gerald, what's your reaction to what Cam said in his apology?
When I seen this on the rundown, I had to have, and I'm being dead serious, I had to seriously sit down and pray about what I was going to say on the show because my initial human feelings was to disrespect both of them because both of these topics are sensitive areas for me and they hit home. But then I said, you know what, God, that's not me. I didn't want to react out of emotion because that's not me. I would have got outside of myself reacting out of emotion. Skattebo, I'll say his name. I'm not going to say the other guy's name because I think sometimes we give people platforms and voices that ain't earned it, so I'm not even gonna say his name. But the things that were said, you gotta be careful because mental health is nothing to joke about, and it's very serious. And when I say it's sensitive for me, I'm going to let Cody get more into the CTE, but I have teammates who passed away that I played with in Tampa. Vincent Jackson, one of them. He suffered from severe alcoholism, and when they tested him, he was a 2nd degree or level of CTE, and that wasn't Vincent Jackson. This is the guy who was always with the military. You know, what's the military award that they give out every year, the NFL?
Salute to service?
Salute to service. He won the Salute to Service award.
Yeah.
You know, this is who Vincent Jackson, year after year, Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee. This is who Vincent Jackson was. And then recently, they released a video of Doug Martin, his arrest video. Anybody who knows Doug knows that wasn't Doug. Doug was full of life, loved to have a good time, played video games, just loved playing football and having a good time, dancing, all that. That was Doug. That video, that wasn't Doug. So clearly something happened mentally. This game we play is very difficult, but I want to talk about the asthma situation because they talked about being in the 4th grade and kids breathing hard, and you know, and it was like just breathe air. Well, if you knew what asthma was, is you can't just breathe air. It literally collapses your ability to breathe normally. So for me, that's very sensitive because one, I grew up with asthma and I grew out of it. And they said guys are just soft. They ain't soft bone in my body. I wouldn't been able to play as long as I did if I was soft. I know another guy that we all know in here, he got asthma. I've watched him use an inhaler. You watched him use an inhaler. His name was Aqib Talib. I think we would all agree that there ain't a soft bone in Aqib Talib's body.
Hell no.
So we're talking about people being soft because they have asthma. Let me talk to both of y'all, and I'm going to look into the camera when I say this. You got to be careful when you bring these things up because I have children, and I don't believe either one of y'all have kids. If you do, you know, God bless you. But have you ever had to sit in the hospital with your kid being hospitalized because of asthma? All times of the night, doctors coming in, hooking them up to tubes, telling you if their oxygen level gets below this, they could pass away. I have multiple times sat and watched my kid fight to breathe because she's dealing with asthma, having to be in the hospital multiple times because she can't breathe. As a dad watching his kid, that is hell to deal with because you can't do nothing about it. You can't breathe for them. They're literally hooked to the best thing that can happen to help them breathe, and they're still not breathing properly. And this has happened multiple times. So when y'all sitting up calling people soft and making fun of real medical issues, because the guy, I'm not gonna say your name, but see, I don't just get on this couch and just talk. I actually researched. Didn't your career end because of blood clots? Ain't that a medical situation? Mm-hmm. So we sit here making fun of other medical situations, but your career ended, your athletic career ended because of blood clots. So is that fake? It's not fake, right? Blood clots is very real.
Very real.
So let's be careful what we're saying about these certain things because you never know who it affects. So when I heard this, I was like, man, he is a kid, so that's why I kind of took a step back. Like, we all make mistakes. I've made some very terrible mistakes, and that's why I decided to take that approach. Let's be very aware of the things we're saying and making light of and joking about for clicks, because it's not funny to everybody. And saying people are soft because they have asthma wasn't funny to me at all. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, you know, even if it was a joke, like he said, it was just a bad joke about a very serious topic, multiple serious topics. I will say, though, I do appreciate Cam Skattebo apologizing. He didn't have to do that. And hopefully he does learn from this and uses his platform better going forward. And I have hope that he does because he's done it before. You know, he donated $30,000 to a high school football team to help them with equipment. He also partnered with a local business in Arizona to help out Phoenix Children's Hospital. So he's done some good things off the field. hopefully he continues to go down that avenue rather than the jokes that he said he made was a joke on that podcast. But with that being said, I'm with Gerald. I want to make it very clear that CTE is very real. And I experienced the effects of CTE firsthand. My best friend, my former teammate, my former roommate, Max Turk at USC, suffered from CTE towards the end of his life. So after we left USC, both of us were drafted in 2016. I went to Cleveland. He went to the Chargers. Once our rookie year ended, we came back to Orange County to train at Proactive Sports Performance, which is a place in Santa Ana. And the training facility is located on the roof of an apartment complex. Well, my agency, Athletes First, allows players to stay in the apartments while they train on the roof. So Max and I had already lived together before, said, hey, let's get a 2-bedroom, split the cost, live here for a couple weeks, train on the roof, and then we'll go our separate ways to finish the off season. And without getting into too much detail, I learned very quickly, and it was apparent that the guy I had known for a long time and the guy I was just with less than a year ago was nowhere near the same guy that I spent those couple of weeks with. And I actually ended up having to move out of the apartment for my own safety. He had extreme paranoia. He was constantly withdrawn almost at all times. And it was really, really tough to watch. So fast forward a couple years later, he ends up passing away. It wasn't CTE related directly, but he passed away because of an enlarged heart while he was on a hike. But after he passed away, his parents sent his brain to Unite Brain Bank. At the time, he passed away at 26 years old, so he was very young. And after they did some research and examined his brain, they diagnosed him with stage 1 CTE, which I didn't know how to react to at the time because, one, it made me feel a sense of relief, or at least gave me some answers to why he was acting a certain way, because myself, his family, we did everything we could to try to help him with interventions and all these different things. Nothing was working. But the other side of it was, kind of a wake-up call that I didn't really think about much, that CTE is very real, and it affects people even at a young age that take those repeated hits to the head. And the best way that I could describe, watching a loved one or a friend go through CTE is having to mourn someone while they're still alive. Because my best friend, my teammate, the guy I lived with, I did everything with, was no longer that same person. And I constantly tried to, hope that I could find that again, but I didn't. I love bringing his name up. His name was Max Turk. I've done some work now with the CTE Foundation. We honor his name every year. We do a walk. It's called Max's March to honor him. So before, if I would have heard this, I probably would have, not thought much about it. And I'm not trying to be too dark here. Sorry, I'm not trying to bring in, some of my personal experiences and say that everyone has to feel the same way I do. But with this topic and what I've learned and seeing a friend go through it, I would just hope that guys with a platform like that, younger players, would maybe educate themselves a little bit more on CTE and learn ways to prevent it, especially playing a physical sport like football.
Yeah, I mean, not a very, very smart joke, period. Cam, he seems to like to garner a lot of attention, but all attention isn't great attention. And I'm a take it from a standpoint where he is in. I was in his shoes a little bit ago. I made some insensitive comments about cancer and regarding something Ron Rivera had tweeted or something. It was on Twitter. So my comments were specific to a person and not really taking the understanding of the broad spectrum of cancer and how it affects people. So, I apologize to Ron Rivera. I apologize to the entire cancer community and everyone who's had dealt with cancer. I've had people, my mom specifically, my grandma has had cancer. So it's in my family, but my remarks nonetheless were inappropriate and very ignorant. So, from that standpoint, I understand we all make mistakes. We say certain things in the moment without thinking. But to joke about it, really it's a misunderstanding. And especially because of the field you're in and the people coming behind you, right? We're all in this game. We've been playing this game since we were kids. 91% of us deal with issues of CTE when we're done. And not even to sound funny or to get sympathy, but I know I'm dealing with effects of CTE right now. Whether it's the memory loss, whether it's the anger at times, whether it's the uncertainty. Maybe I don't really have any paranoia issues, but just dealing with frustrating parts of life that you can't really control in that moment, right? We talk about teammates, Doug, Demaryius Thomas, rest in peace, right? You don't really die from the CTE. You die from the things you do trying to cope with the CTE.
Great
Like
point.
I was in a dark period after I retired, doing a lot of heavy drinking and trying to cope that way, smoking a lot, just trying to numb certain things that I was going through. So he'll learn as time goes, right now probably, but to his brothers, right? Rondell Moore just took his own life.
Yeah.
Marshawn Nealon. So these are guys you've been in the league with, all right? So these are your brothers that you're dealing with right now while you're playing. So not only do you have to understand it from guys that are done and retired and dealing with their peers who are, in a critical point of the CTE stage, you have players younger dealing with those same things early in their careers.
Yeah.
So that makes it even worse. So, Cam, I had a little spat with him earlier in the season about him being at the WWE thing with a boot on. And, I'm looking at it as giving advice to a younger brother, an NFL brother. Hey, you're in the boot. I don't think it was wise to be at a WWE game, match pushing and shoving with an entertainer. I know what you're ringside, but you have to get to the ring. That means you have to walk through the tunnels. You have to do, how it is.
Yeah.
Even when you're a guest, a VIP guest of one of those things, right? How much walking?
It's a lot of walking.
A lot of walking.
Yeah.
And he has something to say to me about, being a hater or whatever. But it's not that. It's about teaching you young guys what's coming up next, so you don't have to deal with these things that we've dealt with as much. So, I've been there. I was tremendously remorseful for it, and I apologize. So I believe, Cam, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt that he truly understands what he said, and it's no joking matter because this shit hits hard and it hits fast.
I am touched and moved by every word I've heard around the couch, and I appreciate it hugely from all three of you because it's real and it's raw. And it's the truth. And yet, I see this from a little different perspective because I've covered this game that you guys played at high levels for a long time, longer than you played. And I've dealt with a whole lot of Cam Skattebos in my time. He was a fourth-round pick who is the ultimate head-first player. That's who he is and what he ran 4.65, so he's not the fastest guy. He stands 5'9", goes about 220. So his only value is to be the ultimate tough guy for his team. So he carried the ball 101 times, and 27 times he carried it for first downs because there's a lot of 3rd and 2s that he got for that team before he dislocated his ankle and was lost. And I don't think he was joking during the podcast. When he said that CTE is an excuse, I think that was speaking straight from his heart because he knows he can't acknowledge the existence of CTE yet, or he'll quit. Like he is the ultimate CTE case waiting to happen the way he plays football head first because that's all he knows, and that's the only way he's gotten this far. He led his team to a state championship as a high school junior, and you know how he did it. Just head down, running through people, running over people, helmet to helmet. And fortunately, the education on CTE is getting to the levels that the game is getting as safe as you can get it and still keep it football. We're about to talk about flag football, which doesn't even resemble remotely football to me, right?
Yeah.
But the game that you guys played at such a high level, you talked about you got to stay healthy. Well, you're not. It's degrees of health. Everybody is going to get hurt.
100%.
And as the season wears on, it's just a matter of who can last. who's the last man standing, and usually the Super Bowl winner, unfortunately, it's just the luckiest healthy team, right? And it's
A lot of times.
It's luck. I mean, I don't know. It's God. It's whatever you want to say it is, but sometimes it's just your good fortune that you avoid injuries. And boy, you had your share.
Yeah.
And most can't avoid them. So I think Skattebo is trying to play tough guy because that's his mindset has to be, I'm the toughest guy in the room, because that's the only way he's survived playing football at a pretty high level, and now he's the toast of New York because he's a tough guy, right?
Yeah.
So if you ask him about CTE, he's going to say, well, that's an excuse, because in his head, that's what he's thinking. I can't even think about it. I don't want to use. If he starts saying, I'm a classic CTE victim waiting to happen, wouldn't he quit? Wouldn't he have to just retire? Seriously.
He would change his style for sure.
Well, you have to change your style, and then I'm not sure you can make it. I'm not sure you can survive in this league without playing head first football. Head down, here I come. I'm going to run your ass over. You know, that was the new spirit of the team. He sort of set the tone for that team playing that way. And then I was amused by his mom jumped in, and after he dismissed asthma as just, oh, that's fake. And she said, the quote from her was, if only people knew how many times he had to run and get my inhaler. So he had asthma problems too. But see, he's having to shut it out of his brain, which is under threat right now. But he's having to shut out even the prospect of asthma slowing him down because he can't think that way. I don't know. Like the kids who are about to get drafted. Given the numbers that both of you guys just threw out there, aren't all these kids CTE candidates going forward? I know we've siphoned it up the best we can.
Football, man.
Okay, it's just football, man.
Football.
Your heads are going to hit, right?
Yeah.
That you can't. You know this. I mean, it's just hard. And it's a great game, but you have to give yourself up to a certain degree to play this game.
Yeah.
And you get paid a lot of money, maybe in some cases not enough, but you get paid a lot of money to play a kid's game. It's really not a kid's game because it is violent, man. It
Grown
is.
man's game.
Yeah, it is a grown
Yeah, it's
man's
grown.
game.
Yeah.
It is the ultimate grown man's game. And so I can't condemn the kid for trying to keep his head where he has to keep it, because if he gives in, he's done. Right? It's just, you have to approach the game with, oh, that's just an excuse. Well, okay, for him, it would be an excuse. But is he going to have to pay the CTE price at some point? Probably. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but the numbers would scream to you that Skattebo at some point is going to pay some CTE price. Am I right?
Yeah, wouldn't you say that if he has to do all that, his battle's already lost?
Okay.
Like, if you got to think that deep about answering the question a certain way so it's not in your mind, it's already there.
Well,
So you're
and
better off saying next topic.
And to that point,
Okay. Well-
everyone's brain reacts differently,
Yeah.
right? And it's not really the initial concussion, it's the continuous
I got
Smaller
it.
hits,
Yeah.
too.
while you don't let the first one heal. That's why you see some guys sit out for a week and they're right back because they passed all the tests. Some guys get a concussion, they might miss an entire month or multiple months because they shouldn't go back yet. It's that second and third one that stacks up. We saw it with Tua.
Yeah.
The more that he was getting, which obviously makes sense. But yeah, look, I hear you, Skip. I will say this, I'm a firm believer too in giving people second chances, forgiving them. I really hope that what he said in that tweet wasn't someone making him say that. I want to believe that he did apologize sincerely and said, look, this was a lapse in judgment. I'm going to use my platform, which he has done some things off the field in a positive way, but I'm going to use my platform better going forward. I want to believe that, and especially the name he has, man. It's just what he does, what he's known for. I think he could be a great advocate for protecting yourself the best you could and turning this negative maybe into a positive.
Well,
Yeah, just be careful. And that's why I approached it.
I understand.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I approached it the way I did. One, he's young.
Yeah.
And mistakes are made. Things have been said that we wish we didn't say, and we apologize. Just be careful.
And
Okay,
I
so-
appreciate you saying that too, TJ.
Yeah, it is.
Calling yourself out and saying that. That's
Yeah. Okay, here's
takes
the
a lot.
ultimate question for you two. if you had known when you were 22 years old what you know now about CTE, would you have played pro football?
Yes.
And do you think your mindset would have changed for how you played pro football?
No.
I am with you because I think that's how you have.
You got to play it. This is, y'all said it, it's a man's game.
Okay.
You have to play. Man, listen, in the trenches, most people would consider me, if I walk around this building, y'all say, man, Gerald's a big dude.
Yes.
Okay, but the guys I have to go up against, they're bigger than me, and I have to take on two of them.
Yeah.
So if I go out there with any, people used to, because of like how I started the topic, I sit back and I pray. I would pray at the 50 before the games, or, I was just a nice guy. I got freaking superhero stuff all the time, and all that. I was the nerd defensive lineman. So I got labeled soft because I didn't play a certain way.
Okay.
To do what I did in my career at the level I did it, you have to play the game a certain way.
Yeah.
Go ask the offensive lineman I went against. You cannot tiptoe and play this. It moves too fast. It moves entirely too. I wish there was a way, we got the Oculus or whatever where you could simulate. I wish there was a way that they could simulate what we go through down there, the speed, because to us it just becomes, it's just football because we get used to it.
Yeah.
But your first time stepping on a pro field versus college, your first time stepping on a pro field versus college, you like, oh, that's cover two. But then you see that, you're like, how did he get over there so fast? Yeah. It moves, you have to play it a certain way. So there really is no way to kind of like, So like when they made the rule of the landing on the quarterback, that's why we were so infuriated, because it's like, bro, you know how difficult it is to get to the quarterback, let alone be thinking about how I have to fall sideways and all. It's too difficult, but it's what we signed up for.
It's too tough to sacrifice technique, physicality, tenacity, even though you want to protect yourself but still have the same outcome on the field. It's tough.
And to your point, Skip, don't get it twisted. This game does something for us other than the money.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? It's exciting, exhilarating.
Mm-hmm.
We get it, a rush.
No adrenaline like
being
it.
successful,
There's
from
like it.
getting better in our failures, right? There's a lot of things in life that people do that is not the best for their health, and they know they could possibly die by doing it.
Yeah.
Smoking cigarettes, smoking cigars, eating terribly. It's an addiction. This game is an addiction for us. We've been playing it from we were 8, some of us, to 38, 40. So there's nothing that we would do knowing that different than what we've already done and did to be as great or as good or whatever we were in this game. And that's just what it is. Like, you got people skydiving, you got people downhill skateboarding at 105 miles an hour, like swimming with sharks. Like, all that shit can kill you. You can die from that.
You live for that.
And it's not eventually. That shit can happen right away. Rock climbing with no anchors on. Like, It just does something for us, and we would do it, some of us for a little bit of money, some of us not, but it's the game. The game is the game.
Well, I appreciate your guys' depth immensely. I really learned a lot from this conversation, and I think it's really healthy to have so that people really understand the severity of what you guys have experienced with the people around you and also yourself. But I think with that, too, with the fans of the NFL, or even the fans, like obviously I have the chat up, with the fans listening, understanding the severity of something like this, Cam Skattebo, when you look his name up on Twitter, there's a million comments about CTE. People make jokes about him, CTE. So it's like, that could be a coping matter. Like, you guys don't realize that Cam Skattebo needs to be held accountable when he's going to learn from this. But as fans of the NFL, you guys can't joke about this either. You're wishing on a kid, or you guys are saying he's not a kid, you're wishing on a young man or telling him that he's going to get CTE. So he might be coping, because when you go on Twitter, it's every time after he played, it was Cam's CTE.
And that's all. And whenever you mention the point, I love that, Kinsey, because in the comments, whenever we say something that a fan or a watcher doesn't agree with, the first thing they say, what they say?
He got CTE.
Yeah.
Or the CTE.
Every time.
They make it a joke.
It's
and
like,
so,
all right, haha, but like that shit.
Yeah, so I appreciate
Great
you guys taking this serious for me. And I know we're normally not super serious on the show, but I do appreciate you guys taking it serious and showing, because the audience, all of us, need to learn how serious of a subject this is. So I'm glad that it got brought up in conversation. We are going to move on. Let's
Please, no.
let's talk
get
about
lighthearted.
the Fanatics Flag Football Classic, okay? Because TJ, you were there in person.
Yes.
But this is actually funny because I've watched for a long time the Team USA flag guys talking smack and being like, listen, this is a different game, and we're going to be on this Team USA team. You think you're going to make it, but watch. And then now we got Tom Brady, Joe Burrow, some of the best playing versus Team USA guys you've never heard of, and they got smoked. You were watching, right? This is wild. This is kind of just this is crazy.
The way this narrative is being like, come on,
Hey, listen, we gonna get into it.
We are gonna get into it.
Hey, y'all gotta stop. Y'all gotta stop this, man. Y'all fans that's watching, y'all gotta stop. We gonna get into it. Go ahead, TJ. Y'all gotta stop this, man.
We're not ready yet. We're not ready yet.
We're not ready.
We're not ready yet.
I've been waiting for this one.
I want to fire you guys up a little more, though, because we've got the quarterback. His name is Doucette,
all right,
and this is what he had to say about it. So I can't wait to fire you guys up. We need to get this couch fired up.
At the end of the day, I feel like I'm better than Patrick Mahomes because of my IQ of the game. I know he's right now the best in the league. I know he's more accurate. I know he has all these intangibles. But when it comes to flag football, I feel like I know more than him.
Dang.
Nah, I'm coming back. I had to walk out on that, man.
My dog Gerald said I'm out on that one. I'm out on that
Come
note.
on, man. Better than Patrick Mahomes. All right.
So obviously, we've got some NFL players on this couch who are going to be a little fired up at this, but the world is talking to you, Jay. Shut them up a little bit.
All respect, but pickleball is not tennis, okay?
Man.
That's actually a really good point.
All respect to those guys that play at the national level in flag football and what they do, because I'll never disrespect the game that you guys play. But first, when I pulled up to the game, right, it was at BMO Stadium, which is a soccer field. We all know soccer fields are wider than the NFL fields, right? The NFL field is about 3 times as big as this flag football field, right? I'm like, whoa. This is the field? It's about the third of the width. And I don't know what the yards are exactly, but it's about third of the width, and it's only about 60 yards long. So it's really so condensed, it's ridiculous. So that's one point. Smaller field. Now, when we talk about NFL players playing flag, but let's use this game very, very lightly. We had about 6 retired guys out there, right? Between Tom Brady, Gronk, we had some guys on the back end on their way out, Hopkins and Devontae Adams. Some streamers were on those teams.
Odell was
Speed,
out there.
Odell was out there.
Luke
Kuechly, the biggest, strongest linebacker playing flag football. Like, if you're going to judge, Bond was out there. Bond was dressed by the halftime of the other game. He was in street clothes. Like,
you guys needed like Pat
atmosphere was charity football atmosphere. It was a party on the sideline. If you know anything about Fanatics, they put this on. Everything that Fanatics does is a party. It was sideline sections. Raising Cane's had a section. Fanatics had a section. All the stars are right there. Jamie Foxx, Lil Baby.
TJ
Ward, and 3 Ward was on the sideline, but you know it was a great event, very entertaining. You know, Joe Burrow was out there, Tom Brady, the other brother. I don't even like talking about him.
Jaden Daniels?
No, the boxing, the streamer guys.
Oh.
The Paul brothers out there, like Logan Paul.
Yeah.
So it was not very competitive atmosphere.
But TJ, you're telling me, you've told us on this couch, Cody, that Tom Brady is the fiercest competitor you've ever played with. Tom Brady is down 40-10 by this team. You don't think he's like,
Tom Brady, 50
these
years
guys,
old.
I'm going to give it my all.
Hey,
Joe Burrow, these are the fiercest competitors.
Tom Brady's trying now. Tom was competing now.
Yeah, okay.
But we're
As a
talking about,
competitor,
if you're going to
I don't
say
care if
that
it's a
this is
party
the
environment.
NFL representation of football, then let's get some of our more flag football friendly players in there, right? Like our Jamar Gibbs, right? H.M., Bajan Robertson, Kenneth Walker, those smaller type guys that very elusive.
Yeah.
very great in space, like Luke Kuechly. Like, he's not a guy you want on the field doing flag football. By the way, Luke Kuechly is yoked. He may be bigger now than he did when it
That was,
was.
you know what though?
Man.
That was pretty damn cool though to see, even though it was a flag football field, to see Luke Kuechly back on the
Nah,
field.
it
Yeah.
definitely
I mean, that's the thing. They
was,
wanted to sell
right?
tickets.
The
Like, it
NFL
wasn't
that
the
was cool.
roster it should have been.
It's not the
I'm just
roster,
watching
right?
him play.
Like, to
And
that
speed
point, though,
being
they did
that
a
was
great job. Like, there were some tangible things that the NFL or that the flag football guys did that were pretty amazing, right? They're really good in space. They got the little dip with the flag and spin. We've seen that. But to say that it was a highly competitive environment and that our guys was out there really trying to compete with the flag football guys would be remiss. Now, those guys were out there, they had a point to prove. They definitely had a point
they
to
played
prove.
like-
They was going out there like they was like they won the Super Bowl. They afterwards, they got the trophies. They've been talking like they won the Super Bowl. Shout out to those guys. You guys played very well. But, you know, if we get our flag football friendly roster together, get some guys that aren't retired. Grunk was drinking beers on the sideline.
Well, Grunk pulled
all
him.
type of craziness. You have receivers, the Hopkins, and they ain't never tried to make a tackle in their life trying to pull flags. Like, it was fun though. It was definitely fun.
And that's the thing is, and I even tweeted about it. I said, man, can we relax a little bit? Let's stop taking it so serious.
Yeah.
Just laugh at it and have fun. Man, Gronk pulled his hamstring.
Gronk
Like,
pulled
Gronk
that
pulled his
hammy.
hamstring. You know what I'm
Hey.
saying? Like seeing Luke Kuechly, Logan Paul, terrible athlete.
Hey, just because you buff,
Like,
don't
come
mean
on,
you're
man.
an
Like, you
athlete.
just, Tom, let me say this, though. A couple different takeaways. Tom, when you said if we give you a month, you could go out there and light the NFL up, I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it. That sidestep and throw he made,
He should play for the Raiders for a second.
I believe it.
That was his first play of the game.
I believe it.
It was on
Yeah.
4th and
I
goal.
definitely believe it. And him taking care of his body and all, you've seen, to your point, the addiction he has with this game.
Yeah.
Because as soon as he ran out, he turned it on. And his eyes, you seen that look in his eyes. And Tom, if he wanted to still play, Tom could still play. It was great to see Odelling. You know, that was great
Great
to see.
one-hand catch.
Yeah. So, but when I think about the pro flag players or champions of any level, I don't care if you are 4 years old all the way to the pros. Champion is a champion. So I don't want to take away from the championship. We think about the regular Olympics, they have the 3-on-3, then they have the on-the-court basketball. Those are two different groups that play completely different. The guys who play in the 3-on-3, you would think, okay, why don't we, if Kyrie didn't make the main team, put Kyrie out there at 3-on-3. They get who they get for a reason. So the USA flag, I respect you guys for being who you are, and I personally believe they should represent us at the Olympics for flag football
gonna
because
ask
this
that.
is what they do.
Yeah.
And
Year
that's
round.
fine.
You don't think
this
any
is what they
NFL guys
do
should
year
join the
round.
team?
No, I don't think so because the way we train our bodies and what we train for, we've trained to be specialists at our game. We don't have the time and energy to be able to do what we do. It's not like the NBA who plays that and then they go play the FIBA type of basketball. It's still basketball in a sense. The rules is different, the ball's different, all that, the root. So, but flag is completely different. The concept is different. The spacing is
Yeah.
different. The skill set is different.
Rules.
The rules
They
are
obviously
different.
didn't know
the rules,
very
yeah.
well.
Joe Burrow ran it,
When I
and they're like,
think
you can't do that.
But when I think about
What are you
when fans are saying them versus us, no disrespect to anybody that's on those teams, but your coach versus Shanahan and Sean Payton, give those minds your rules and your game and watch what they come up with. Give all of our top athletes the time that y'all get and look at what they come up with. There's a reason, and this is no disrespect to those guys, that the athletes that we have that play at the top level of the pro football are still playing pro football, and y'all decided to go play flag. Because some of the flag players, even the head coach, he was a baseball player at first. Then he decided,
Sound
I'm going to go
familiar?
over here. I'm going to go over here.
Bingo.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go over here and do this. And I fell in love with it. Now they put in the time and energy to be great at what they do. Those guys are exceptional at what they do. And I look forward to them representing us
Yeah.
at the Olympics because I believe we're
Yeah.
going to dog walk everybody. But when we start,
you'd be surprised.
When we start, I'm USA, baby.
I know. God bless
Forget
America.
the surprise. I'm biased.
Just saying, I watched some of these world championships and like.
I'm biased though.
Nah, nobody got better athletes.
Yeah.
than us.
So when I look at the comparison, we don't even have the time to be able to be great.
Yeah.
And it's really just the concept. It's just the concepts and the.
But
when they
Odell
stand
has time.
with the movement, when they
Odell
think about
has time.
it.
He's talked about putting the time in.
Think about it.
Odell has time. He doesn't
Think
have a
about
contract.
it. When they say RG3 said he gonna do it, he's sitting in the court, but he got time to do it.
Yeah.
Even the movement. When you seen those guys moving, moving back this way,
Yeah, the
dipping,
slip,
all that.
Yeah.
Man, you not doing that with TJ coming downhill. Now we just talked about getting hit in the head. TJ gonna knock your head off. You doing all that?
Not in this.
No
no
But
contact.
that's,
No, I'm saying
I think that's
in
what
real,
the point is.
well,
That
I'm
it's
saying,
a different game.
That flag,
It is a
skip.
different
I'm
game.
gonna get frustrated. I'm gonna hit somebody.
No, I'm talking about when we
fuck that
compare,
flag.
when the fans are comparing the sports,
Yeah.
they're literally training to not get touched.
Yeah.
Saquon and these B-Johns and these Christian McCaffreys, and people was like, oh, well, Alvin Kamara, man, this and this. Alvin Kamara,
It's still stock.
his claim to fame is his balance, how you can hit him full speed and he can stay on his feet and keep running. That's not this game.
Yeah.
It's a completely different game, completely different skill set, completely different rules, concepts, all of that. We don't even have the time to put in to be great at that. So I think we should just allow them to be great at what they do, enjoy what you just watched, let them have fun with it. I enjoyed watching it. It was fun to see. I thought it was hilarious, some of the stuff I seen. Also, Joe, be careful, man.
Yeah.
Buddy,
Man, Joe, be careful, boy.
And that little spin
That
move
stop-
he made on his knee.
stop, man.
Yeah, Buddy wasn't
know.
messing around. You gotta think
Hold
this
my
is
breath.
Chill
this
out.
this is their
Bengals need you.
because if they do
Tripping.
this, now they going back to the family. And, hey, congratulations, y'all winning that 100,000
Yeah,
apiece
that's
too.
big.
That's big for y'all.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of y'all for that. But they going back to the crib saying, "Oh man, I see you strapping up this and this." That was this for them. Whereas us, we gonna get back to our training and get ready for OTAs.
Yeah.
It's just so.
Joe was.
They are great at what they do. They're great at what they do, and I would love if they represented us.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they've earned it, they deserve it, and just like the media space, when I crossed over from sports to the media space, I got an all new respect for the media because now I know the time it takes you have to put in to be great at media. So I never disrespect crossing over into somebody else's world and say, I can just, no. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Allow them to do that. It was fun to watch, but those guys are great at what they do.
Those guys also train 8 hours a day and then go work a night job because you don't make the $50 million contract.
They great at
So,
what they do. So
yeah,
it was great. It was great to see. I'm
They
happy
are
for
great
them.
athletes and
But that's
They
the
deserve
thing,
a little
at the end of the day,
respect.
they perfect their craft like
Yeah.
we do
Yeah.
in our sport. And that was the thing. Just the NFL players were at a disadvantage regardless of who was out there on the field. Some legends, from the NFL, you were still in just a completely different world like you guys said. The same for them. If those flag football players from Team USA threw the pads on and tried to go 11 on 11 with NFL rules, they'd be at a disadvantage
tried
as
it.
well. It's the same thing. But
They have tried it.
yeah, I get what you're saying. But also, too, you could tell the guys out there, to your point, not everyone was giving 100%. It was an entertainment thing. They were trying to protect themselves. The worst thing that could have happened was a star player like Burrow almost
That's
did
what I'm saying.
get hurt
Yeah.
in a Fanatics, flag football tournament that really didn't mean much, and that would have been, the worst thing that could have happened. I will say this, though. I do think it is a positive for Team USA, the flag football team, from an entertainment standpoint. It brought a lot of eyes
sure.
to their sport, which will hopefully in 2 years in 2028 during the Olympics will give them a bigger fan base. And guys, I remember them playing against the NFL guys, bring some more, fans to their sport. It was cool, though. I have to admit, watching Tom Brady, Luke Kuechly, OBJ making some plays,
spin it, man.
being on
My
the field
goodness.
again. But yeah, you guys said it best. I think the biggest takeaway is it was for entertainment. That was very clear. Shout out to Team USA. Hopefully this will, get some more people excited about flag football at the Olympics, but also getting to see some legends go out there and throw it around a little bit.
I know. Hey, what's
He
up,
about to light
Skip?
two boys up.
Our guys, our stars, got their pride handed to them on quasi sort of national TV. I don't think it did big numbers, but I was going back and forth with March Madness and this. And the more I watched, the more my eyes were opened by the fact, you said it's like pickleball to tennis. It's like ping pong to tennis. It's dramatically different than football because remember, like Akib coaches 7-on-7. That's the cachet now in the offseason is 7-on-7. Yeah. This is 5-on-5.
Yeah.
It's completely different, and the ball is smaller than a football. Okay, so it's just something that you can just grip and play with like it's a little Nerf football, right? And everything is so different that here's the point. Team USA scored on every single possession for 3 straight games.
They made it look so easy.
Okay, they were never stopped in 3 games in a row. They just score. No, they were never stopped because we didn't know how to get the flag. And like you said, TJ's coming downhill, he's going to knock somebody's head off. Well, he's going to be like, I can't get the flag.
You almost just want to grab one of their little ass.
You see Luke. Y'all see Luke? When Luke grabbed Buddy and they called him, I guess they called a flag because Luke wouldn't let him go. Because he like, give.
Yeah.
Okay, so our Stars got outscored 106-44 in 3 straight games. It's annihilation. It's embarrassment. It's toying with. It's Von Miller. Talk about fish out of water. The last player you need on the field is Von Miller. The last player you need on the field is you because you don't work in this game.
What am I going to do?
Okay.
What I got to do?
Hey, okay.
Let me just be the guy that
lane. Yeah, get in the throwing lane.
Okay, but there's no 1001. He gets a 10-yard go. And you need Tyreek to be that guy.
Yeah.
Seriously.
You need speed
because
out there.
you can't block. If you even get in his way, they throw a flag on you. It's a penalty on you for even getting in the rusher's way. So every pass, like Brady would have to say, uh-oh, he's coming, and he juked the first guy, and that was good. And he threw a touchdown pass to Stephon Diggs. It was sweet. Yeah. But for the most part, Tom Brady is not really needed in this game because they were killing us. They play 2 quarterbacks most of the time. And so that Hoosh Doucette that we just saw.
No, they did. It was working, though.
It's 2 quarterbacks. So what you need is 2 Kylers. You need 2 Kyler Murrays because that's what they're playing with.
Yep.
These are all little people. Yep. They're little quick people. They are. I'm serious. They're all little people.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Real.
Hey, so this is as far from football as you can get. Right? It's that. There he is. That's the star.
Maybe the guys that were too small to make
A little lead would have locked up.
So they have it down to such a science. Our guys are out there like, what? What are you doing, man? Where one quarterback takes the snap and flips it over to the other quarterback, and then he goes out and runs a route because that Hoosh Doucette can fly. I mean, he's at least as good catching it and running with it as he is throwing it. And the throwers were not great because all the routes are underneath. It's all just little...
There's no way to run, Skip. The field's so small, there's literally nowhere to go.
All right, so they have it down to a science, and we got Logan Paul's out there. It's like, what? What are you doing?
And speed was getting just tore up in the back.
It's ridiculous. So to your point, this is their baby, and it's their game, and I'm sorry for Patrick and Joe Burrow. They're not needed here. It's ridiculous. And I know they want to defend their, and go show everybody we have the greatest players. We know we have the greatest players. We don't need anybody to go prove that. If we played football, if we played NFL football in the Olympics, just with all the same rules, kind of like Olympic basketball. I know there's some tweaks to the rules, but it's still pretty much basketball, right?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so the world is catching up with us, but going back to the dream team, we would just annihilate. Well, listen, if we played NFL football in the Olympics, it would be a joke because every game would be 100-0 us, right? Okay, so we get that. We don't need anybody to go prove that. So to your point, all these guys like Hoosh Doucette, he played intramural college football. He didn't even play. These are all like former high school players who are little quick guys who know the game inside and out. And it's a weird, different...
We jealous, Skip, man. We do this. We make a lot of money. We jealous of NBA because our faces are covered and
that's true.
they get to play with the uncovered faces. Everybody know who they are. They get to go play in the Olympics, get a gold medal. We just want a gold medal, man.
I know.
So
You guys just
if you
want
playing
gold medals.
football, we want to be a part of it. But we know if it was any other country and we were playing football, it'd be unfair. That's why
All right,
it's
so
not in
here's
the
the
Olympics.
problem. If you're doing the reality of this situation, these games, Olympic Games, are going to be played out here in L.A. in August of 2 years, right? It's going to be during training camp. So are you telling me that GMs and team owners are going to want their best players to be playing flag football, this gimmicky little game, during training camp?
Heck no.
I'm surprised most of them got to play in this game. I was watching it like, who okayed this? You know, like,
Yeah, and
Cody,
I don't know if you saw.
No, for real. When Joe got hit,
Man.
I said, man, I know Cincinnati was like,
On the phone, like,
hey, man, what,
get his ass out.
What are you
when
doing?
Logan Paul hit Jalen Hurts' arm as he was throwing,
Yeah, like, what
get
are you
his
doing?
ass out,
Okay,
man.
and did you see Devontae Smith? He got tripped up a little bit trying to make a big high catch, and his feet got tangled, and he came down on his knee.
That's what he's talking about, the addiction. We are the ultimate
can't turn off
competitor.
that
He didn't know how to turn it
No,
off.
you
Yeah,
can't.
turn it off.
Like, you can move slow for a second, but you remember we was talking about the Pro Bowl
You
and
start
Lieb?
losing
Remember
too?
we talking about the Pro Bowl and Lieb said, I'm going to do a little bit, but hey, as soon as you start turning up a little bit, we just don't, he didn't know how to not go for the
did
ball.
not
It
know.
just-
It's
Man.
That's why I said, just let them have it. It's fine.
yeah.
I think this was an eye-opening day
Yeah.
for the National
I
Football
think
League.
I think
needed
the
it.
NFL players was like, we good.
no.
Yeah,
the gold
That's
medal
what we needed this. We
I
definitely
think,
needed it.
like to Skip's point, we needed that. They got humble and was like, yeah, I'm good. Let me go on over here.
But if you're
camp.
like Odell Beckham and you still got juice in the tank, would you
Maybe.
go be like, I'm gonna go get this gold medal? I'm not playing for a team.
Well, it just depends on how much you want to play. It depends on, like, after my injury with the Cowboys, the next team I signed with, like when I was with the Raiders, I was on the scout team. And I went with the threes on defense. I was the most accomplished person on the team. But I didn't care because I wanted to play football.
Yeah.
I just wanted to play. Put on the pads. I hated 907 when I was actually with the Bucks. While I was with the Raiders, I was like, bring on 907 because I was out of the game.
Yeah.
And when I think of Odell and he did what he did, Odell wants to put on a helmet and shoulder pads and go play football.
Yeah.
That,
Closest.
okay, it's cool if he wants to go do it, but Odell is not that far removed where if you look at RG3, when he's saying he's going to go start training and compete, he's been out the game for a long time. He's trying to get back around the game. And RG3, even though he's a bigger guy, he still has the skill set to run around and be that other quarterback.
But
you know what I'm saying? It's just
with Odell, can he still make you miss? Because he's actually a bigger receiver. He's bigger than you think he is. These are all little guys.
he
who
was
can
much
make
bigger.
you
And
miss.
Odell's not as NFL wise. He's not one of the bigger receivers, but compared to those guys, he was much bigger than them.
because these guys don't need to be jump ball catchers. It's all underneath.
Well, it's the quick. It's not, sometimes they're not even throwing it. It's just
Yeah.
little,
Did you see
little
the
tosses and pitching it.
one-on-ones, like the 50-50s, Odell's catch? You see Hopkins when
He was
Buddy
like
was
that,
on it? He
yeah.
was like, come on, man.
Staring them down too.
It's
That's that
just like-
competitive edge.
It's just
coming out,
like
man.
that's
That fire.
the difference. So you don't have to be physically imposing. You just got to know how to play the game. Like I seen one where they was like bunched up and then they all just kind of like.
Yeah, and that was another factor in this. Like those teams, the Founders and the Wildcats, they didn't have a ton of time to practice, and they're looking at wristband calls and trying to figure out the rules of the game, which they obviously didn't know very well. But even if you do give them a lot of time, it's a different world. It's
a different
those
world,
flag
yeah.
football guys have been doing
Yeah.
it their entire life.
Well,
man.
obviously Joe Burrow was trying to impress Alex Earl, right?
Hey, I will say real quick,
You may have been on the sideline skill. I ain't gonna hold you. The way he was running, it had to be a girl court side.
I know.
The
But
way
now
he was
there's all
out
the
there.
drama that, like-
Hey, man.
Yeah.
What you
I gotta
doing?
relax.
He's just a competitor.
Joe Vick?
I think he wanted to show up Tom Brady.
Maybe.
Because
Tom
they
was
were,
talking heavy to him, yeah.
yeah, it was a little, just
Tom
a
was
little.
talking to everybody, though.
Tom was talking. Tom, that's who Tom is,
That's
man.
who
He
he is.
competitor. When you turn on competition, Tom like, let's
And that's
get
what
it.
I was saying on Friday on this couch. I said he's been out of the league for 3 years now, and now he gets a chance to compete,
Yep.
whether it's for a Lombardi or a damn flag football
You
game.
see the
on
look
a-
in his eyes?
on the ladder,
He wasn't messing around.
Yeah. Even when he ran on that field, I was like, oh.
Hey,
Did you see what he said after they lost the first game to Team USA?
Well, he was
said,
going-
my heart is hurting now.
and it was.
And it was.
He wasn't just saying.
Nah, he don't do
no,
losing.
No.
No,
he don't do
no.
losing.
Matter.
Well, it was an eye-opening weekend for
Wow.
NFL players, and I think they just released the gold medal dream. and they were like, you know what? Maybe this isn't our journey. I'm gonna go get another Super
I
Bowl
got it,
ring or
man.
something.
We got
else.
one world championship.
Yeah.
This is the gold medal.
Last thing I'll say,
It go on
Skip,
your finger.
I got to give Skip his flowers because you just broke that shit down talking about flag football.
Yeah, he
The
did.
analysis.
And he
man,
said he was watching March Madness.
Yeah,
and
it
he
doesn't
wasn't
matter.
They need you to announce the Olympics. You got to be a
I'm
flag
sitting here
football
locked in
announcer.
watching him break down the
What you
plays.
think, Cody? What you think most prolific mean?
Man.
We start the show every time. Most
Go.
prolific. What you think that mean, baby?
Hey.
I told you at Super Bowl. He's a master,
He's
man.
sitting breaking.
I know. We might lose Skip
Why
to
Skip
being a
Bayless?
flag
Yeah.
football analyst pretty soon. Please
I
don't.
think so.
All right, guys, that'll do it for another episode of Gridiron presented by Underdog. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will be back on the couch on Friday. Woo,
Yeah.
woo.